One of the best intros in all of sports talk radio. It is the Sean O'Connell Show. Obviously not Sean O'Connell. No, I am Brice Larson. Jordan Bianucci is going to join me coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We are the hosts of Brice and Bianucci. If you don't know us, we've been here once or twice. We've been here a couple times filling in for Sean O'Connell. We'll be here on your Super Bowl Friday edition of the Sean O'Connell Show. As always, you can listen to us live streaming over on ESPN700sports.com, the ESPN 700 app. You can also ask your smart speaker to tell it to play ESPN 700. Go follow us over at ESPN 700 Sports on YouTube and more. A jam-packed Friday edition as we send you into your weekend on a Friday right here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Super Bowl preview comes your way as it's the pregame to the pregame, because you're going to get a pregame coverage that starts right here via Westwood One, 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Then kickoff, of course, between the Patriots and the Seahawks in Super Bowl number 60 is going to be at 4:30 p.m. right here on Utah's #1 sports talk. Throughout the show today, we're going to be breaking it down for you and making sure that you know what you need to know for the Super Bowl. Got some tidbits. Jordan and I have talked a lot about the Super Bowl this week over on our show on 103.9 and 98.3 FM in the mornings from 7 to 10 a.m. But we're going to bring it here to this very show, the Sean O'Connell Show. So I want to welcome in James Peterson over there in the producer's booth, who's hanging out with us this morning as well, and talk a little bit about this Super Bowl matchup and whatnot. James, I personally think that this game isn't going to be as close as people believe it to be. Everybody wants the Super Bowl to be a very close football game. I just have a feeling that the Seattle Seahawks are a much better football team than the New England Patriots, and I think Seattle's going to run away and hide in this one.
Do you really? Because I think mostly it's what you're talking about. It's wishful thinking, everybody predicting a close game, but I think it's also just that even though this is a completely new era of the Patriots always play close Super Bowls, right?
That's true.
I think the largest margin of victory for them or / defeat for them was 10 points when they beat the Rams the last Super Bowl they were in. But, of course, this is a whole different team, so we can't expect it to be the same. But, yeah, that's interesting because I actually think we're – and as a certified Patriots hater, I hate saying this. I'm wearing my Peyton Manning jersey today. If you're not sure, I'm a Patriots hater. I've got the Peyton Manning Colts jersey on. I think that we're underestimating the Patriots a little bit too much in this game. Even though there's every reason to believe the Seahawks are the favorites, should be the favorites. Yeah. And as you said, would not blame anyone for thinking the Seahawks are going to blow them out. Something tells me that the Patriots might just pull off an upset here, and I'm going to hate it. Although I don't like the Seahawks either, so I don't really care who wins.
See, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't really care who wins the Super Bowl. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm a Falcons fan of all the time. So maybe some people think that I'm a Patriots hater because of obvious reasons here. But overall, I really don't care who wins this. I actually like Mike Vrabel. I think he's a phenomenal head coach. I think that he's got what it takes. If there's going to be somebody that's going to keep it close in a Super Bowl, Mike Vrabel could be the guy to do so with that team. I just think overall the Seahawks are a better football team. It all depends on who manages this the best, because the Super Bowl is a little bit different. And I was listening to the Rich Eisen show the other day, and he was talking with a couple of different people who have been to Super Bowls before, who brought up a good point in all of this. The Super Bowl is different from every other NFL game that every one of these players will ever play in their lifetimes. It's different in the way that all of the theatrical stuff around the Super Bowl really starts to get in the way in terms of distractions for these guys. And one thing that each one of those players came through and told Rich Eisen throughout this week was specifically managing your energy while you're standing around doing absolutely nothing after you've warmed up. Absolutely nothing. So whoever can manage their emotions and not get too high, not get too low, actually has a really good chance to win this game. And in that part alone, I think that Vrabel, with the experience he brings to the Super Bowl, has an opportunity to maybe even out the playing field here. That's the only way that I think, because overall I think Seattle, top to bottom, in any normal football game that's not the Super Bowl, is going to take it to New England. If they come out and they're flat and they're out of energy and they're just tired and they look confused in the Super Bowl, I think it's because they're not exactly sure or don't have a lot of guys that have been there before that know how to manage that specific aspect of the Super Bowl, James.
I think that's fair, and that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking the Pats are being underappreciated in this game, I guess. I also think Drake May is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I know that that's wrong to say right now because all we want to talk about is what a great story Sam Darnold is, and he is. It is a great story, and it is not a knock on Sam Darnold. I was not with the people who, after a 14-win season with the Vikings and then he struggled in the playoff game, I was not with everyone that said, "Oh, well, that's why Sam Darnold's just never been very good and never will be very good." Like, I thought that was a little ridiculous. So I'm not doing that now. Guy finished second in MVP, had over 4,000 yards. I think he has more just raw talent than Sam Darnold has. The only thing he doesn't have is the experience that Sam has gained, which has been a big reason why Sam has had this resurgence, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the Pats have a slight advantage at quarterback. I think they definitely have the coaching advantage, but again, not a knock on Mike McDonald because he's been awesome too. I also think that one of the reasons why we're underestimating New England maybe is because their offense hasn't looked good, but they've also had to play in 3 bad weather games.
Yeah, that is
playing
true.
in the Northeast and in that snowstorm in Denver. This one is the first time they're going to have perfect weather conditions because it's not inside, but in San Francisco on the West Coast there. I think the offense is going to show up a lot more than it has. So I've wanted to pick the Seahawks in this game, but I'm leaning New England probably because I'm like, I don't think that people are giving him enough credit, as much as that pains me to say.
Yeah, and that's fair. The one thing that worries me, I kind of agree with you, everything that you just said on Drake May's phenomenal quarterback. The one thing that worries me is this news story that felt like it came out of nowhere about this dude's right throwing shoulder.
Yeah, the injury, yep.
The injury that is...
He's had 2 weeks, though.
He has had 2 weeks. I have a feeling that they might be downplaying this a little bit more. I just have that feeling. The Seattle pass rush, if they get after him, all it takes is 1 or 2 hits to rattle him. Maybe he starts to feel that shoulder a little bit. I think that injury is being downplayed just a little bit more than what we're being told here. Now he's going to be able to go. It sounds like he's been cleared to practice and whatnot throughout the week and whatnot. But yes, that's the one thing that I would worry the most about when it comes to Drake May is that specific shoulder injury. Okay, now joining us here in the beautiful studio of ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM is my partner over in the mornings, Jordan Bianucci. You decided, look, we just did 3 hours of radio here, Jordan, and you're 9 minutes late to this show?
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. Our friend,
it's so nice of you to join me.
I tried to get here on time. It was a long commute, the 5 steps over from the ESPN The Fan studio. We're a little short-handed today, Brice. I was doing producer duties for another program.
You get a free pass because you were helping. You're being a good Samaritan, helping others out.
Yeah, we had a call. You know, the best part is what I was doing was I was setting up a call between a sponsor and a host.
Okay.
And I told them, I was like, hey, guys, I'm literally co-hosting another show. I got to go. And a little behind the scenes, before they started, like, getting into the actual
sponsorship,
segment, they just had a conversation for a while. Just standing there.
You're just waiting.
Yeah, just waiting. It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm heading onto the 50,000-watt blowtorch over on 700.
Well, hey, a little inside baseball as to what we get to deal with on a day-to-day here.
I mean, there's nothing going on this week, so it doesn't really. There's a big football game, I heard?
Yeah, that's actually what we were just barely talking about when you came in halfway through and made all that noise opening the door and disrupting us and causing James to have to move cameras around. So it's very nice of you to join us here, Jordan Bianucci, on the Sean O'Connell Show.
It's a pro move.
How you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, I feel good.
Ready for 3 more hours?
I'm ready for 3 more hours.
Okay, it's going to be a jam-packed 3 more hours. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about what we got coming your way on the show today. Our friend Paul Pugmire is going to stop by at 11:45 for a PGA Tour leader. 11:30. 11:30 this morning for a PGA Tour leaderboard update. We're going to talk a little Waste Management Open with Paul Pugmire. Jordan, have you ever been to the Waste Management Open down in Phoenix?
I never have, no.
That is a bucket list place to go. I haven't either, but it's a spot where, it is the party tournament of golf. Like, if you want to go down there and party and be able to heckle some golfers, that's the Waste Management's the place to go.
Okay. If you're that type of golf fan, I could do that.
If you're rowdy, a little rambunctious, you like to maybe camp out or get there at 5 a.m. to get a spot around the hole, that's the place to go.
The anti-Augusta, you would say?
Yes.
Okay.
If you were the exact opposite of Augusta.
You could say it's the PGA Tour's answer to Liv and Maxi, except they've been doing it. Maxi, shout out to Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, there you go.
But they've been doing that way longer than the Liv Tour's been in existence. But
Right.
it's a really nice change of pace from the stuffy, we're golfers and we can't have fun kind of experience of the rest of the tour. If that's how you feel about golf, it's a much different thing. It's Happy Gilmore style.
Yeah.
It's the Animal House to the Augusta Niedermeyer. There will be no fun of any kind.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a very good reference. One that I actually understand because you use it often. That's the only reason why. So Paul Pugmire will join us coming up at 11:30 this morning right here on the Sean O'Connell Show. A little bit later on, Lindsay Rhodes of Sumer Sports. She's an NFL analyst. Going to stop by, talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We'll get you ready for everything that comes your way this weekend right here on Utah's #1 sports talk. We'll have the Daily Dump, as always, coming up at 12:30. Go through the top headlines around the world of sports. Then our friend Lee Sterling stops by. Some more Super Bowl talk with Lee Sterling from a betting standpoint. And Jordan Bianucci, boy, you want to talk about betting. There's a lot of betting aspects to the Super Bowl. How long's the national anthem going to go for?
This is
2:05?
Yeah. This is one of it's Puth. What's his first name? Charlie Puth.
Yeah, he is a musical genius, by the way.
So
have you seen his videos on Instagram or TikTok or anything?
I don't think so.
Oh, the dude explains music in such a beautiful way. Like, you got to look this dude up.
Really?
Yeah, you got to watch his videos because he puts it in such a simple way. He's such a smart guy about music specifically that he makes some really, really interesting videos. You should check him out.
I'll check him out. So what is he going to do? You have him going, is he going to go long? Is he going to go like Mariah Carey style? Or is it short and sweet?
I think he is going to go a little long.
All right.
Mr. Charlie Puth.
Well, I can't wait to ask Lee because Lee has some excellent insight on the national anthem. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to reveal it yet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So I want to ask Lee about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Lee,
good to know.
Yeah, it's good. So stick around.
All right, some other prop bets from the Super Bowl. We'll be talking about that more coming up at 12:45. That's one of my favorite parts about. Everyone knows I like to take the drive out, the long desert highway out to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you got a problem. First step is admitting it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's our lineup for today on the Sean O'Connell Show this morning. I always want to remind you the Sean O'Connell Show is now brought to you proudly by Big Willie's Sports Bar in Salt Lake. From craft food to craft cocktails, they are the sports bar. Check them out today, 1717 South Main Street. Jordan, we were just barely discussing the Super Bowl, what our thoughts were, me and James, before you popped in. So I'm going to rehash it for you a little bit. We've talked about this on our show this morning over on 103.9 and 98.3 FM. I said that I think it's going to be a Seahawks runaway and hide type of event. Unfortunately, I was in the space, but even before, like, I've stayed true to this, as you know, on my prediction for the Super Bowl. Whoever was coming out of the NFC was going to win the Super Bowl, so enjoy the NFC Championship. That's what I said 4 weeks ago. Team that comes out of the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl, so enjoy. Even if it was the Broncos that got in, I thought the NFC was going to win the Super Bowl and it wasn't going to be close. So your thoughts on this matchup, because you might differ a little bit than me in terms of what you think is going to happen this weekend.
I do like the Seahawks. I do think it'll be closer. I think if the Seahawks win by more than a score, it'll be like 10 points. But that being said, I worry about that Patriots offense is number one. They didn't play, and we never talk about this NFL-wise, but their strength of schedule during the regular season just wasn't. They didn't play anybody. Then they played not a bad Houston team, but not a great Houston team. They
really good defense, though.
Really good. That's true. Great defense with Houston. And then they played Denver in a blizzard and with a backup quarterback. And it's still, so I like Vrabel, and I think it will be closer, but I am definitely taking the Seahawks. I think the Patriots, I won't be shocked if they win. I think if they can force Darnold into some bad throws, that's the recipe.
Yeah.
It makes Sam Darnold turn the ball over. That being said, I don't know that the Seahawks will turn him loose all that much because they're going to run the football. So it's going to be interesting.
Here's another thing that's really important to point out here, because we talked about on our show Matthew Stafford winning the MVP. Yes, Drake May was right behind him. What was the biggest difference between those two? Not necessarily their fault in the MVP conversation. That's not what I'm trying to bring up here. The biggest difference that we brought up on our show was the amount of times each quarterback was sacked this year.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Stafford was only sacked 24, 25 times. Drake May and the Patriots, he got sacked 40-plus times this year.
Yeah.
Jordan, you can't win a Super Bowl if you're going to allow a defensive line and a defensive front to get after your quarterback over and over and over again. And I think that Seattle's defensive front is just better than New England's offensive line. They're going to get after Drake May. The shoulder worries me a lot. All of a sudden, that came out of nowhere. Oh, he can't practice for a couple of days because he's got a shoulder injury, and it's on his throwing arm. 1 or 2 hits, that thing gets tucked underneath, and it's over. That's what I'm worried about. The Seahawks getting pressure on Drake May, him trying to scramble, get away from it, or not seeing it coming in the first place, and getting tagged, and all of a sudden that shoulder becomes a big issue.
That's true. I think conversely, May can get outside the pocket and run. That's where Seattle has to contain him, because he will pick up a ton of yards on the ground. It's not like he's Michael Vick. He's just picking up first downs. You don't think he's like Michael Vick? I think Drake May's like Michael Vick. You think that's a pretty good comp there? He really is sneaky fast. Like, you watch him run, and you're like, this is the slowest man alive. And he's beating DBs. It's pretty remarkable, actually. So I think the Patriots, that is an advantage. I'm with you. Now, the Seahawks, they have an issue too. Darnold has an oblique issue. And normally I would, because this is even going back 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Normally I'd go, he's fine. It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Obliques don't just go away.
Yeah.
Those last a long time. So that is the one thing I would worry about with him. That being said, these guys, it's the Super Bowl, adrenaline. I wonder how much injuries really come into play. Just because, man, if you're going to play through something and play well, this is the game they'll do it.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about the festivities around the Super Bowl as well, and how well these teams can manage emotions. I was watching the Rich Eisen show throughout the week, and he had a lot of guys on throughout the week that also talked about just being able to conserve your energy, because the national anthem is 8 years long, and everything else that happens, you're warmed up, ready to go, and all of a sudden you're standing around doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we discussed this morning was Mike Vrabel's ability, because he's had that experience, to share that with his team, say, hey, conserve your energy because you're going to need it. There's going to be a lot of hurrying up to stand around and wait.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be something I think if they could manage well, it probably brings that gap a little bit closer for the Patriots.
I agree. I don't think you can understate that. I think that's a huge part of it that people overlook. It's pregame, but it's also halftime. Remember, halftime in the NFL is 12 and a half minutes. You go in and you're out again.
Right back out.
It's 30 minutes for the Super Bowl. And that was one thing I'm trying to remember. I think it was Kyle Shanahan the first time he went to a Super Bowl with the 49ers. He called people like Bill Belichick to ask him just how, and that's one thing they said. They said, you got to plan for halftime differently.
Did they also tell him to be ready for when the lights turn off?
They said also in New Orleans, the power isn't super reliable. So get the generator going. But that's a real. I mean, players are not used to that. Just sitting around, that's hard to do. Get yourself up and get going again. So yeah, and we talked about it earlier. McDaniel, he's coached in 10 Super Bowls, so I do think that's an advantage for the Patriots with Vrabel and that staff.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of this going into it, and what happens with each one of these teams. Also, we talked about the Tom Brady situation. He said he doesn't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
He's a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. But come on, you played for the Patriots for a long time. Kubiak obviously going to become the next head coach in Las Vegas, so I don't think he wants to make him mad. But come on, give us a stance, Tom Brady. Don't be a wuss.
Act like a human being. It's like a robot out there. I just hope everybody has a good time.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, seriously. All you have to say if you're Brady is, obviously I'm a big Kubiak fan, so I want him to do well, but I'm a Patriot. I've always been it's not that hard.
I think there's a little behind-the-scenes beef between him and Mr. Bob Kraft.
I thought he and Kraft had a good relationship. I thought Belichick and him had the beef.
You think so?
I thought so.
You don't think it's the organization specifically?
Yeah,
Or it's Belichick.
I don't know. I thought it was mostly just him and Belichick, but who knows? I don't know.
Maybe there's not some backdoor, behind the scenes back and forth between Bob Kraft and
Listen, let's get them both a gift card to a nice spa. A nice one.
I want a celebrity boxing match.
You want to watch a poor old man die on live television? That's what's going to happen.
I already watched it with some of these Jake Paul fights.
Yeah, that's true. It's a great point. See that beautiful square jaw of Tom Brady's get hit by Robert Kraft.
He's got some weight behind that punch.
He does have some weight behind that punch. Now I forgot what we were talking about.
I know where you were going with that.
Yeah, I was saying to a nice, reputable spa, not some backdoor place in Florida that Robert Kraft frequented. No, I'm talking a nice place, Brice.
And they can make amends. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you spend the day in the steam room and you talk it out.
All right.
Get some cucumber water.
I'm sure. All right, Super Bowl Sunday pregame coverage, as we mentioned, begins at 10 a.m. Right here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Kickoff's going to be at 4:30 p.m. here on Utah's #1 sports talk, and that all comes your way Sundays. You get ready for the big game. Jordan, what do you normally do on Super Bowl Sunday afternoon? What's the move for the party? You got something special going on, or are you going to be alone in your room?
Am I going to be alone in my room?
With the curtains drawn, nice and dark, got the TV on.
That's my threat to the family and friends that come over. I say, if you guys don't shut the hell up and let me watch the football game, I'm going up to my room and I'm shutting the door. That's what bothers me. Maybe I should save this for the grievances. That drives me nuts is when, because you and I, this is our job. We do have to pay attention to the game.
Yeah.
And everyone
got to hear the commentary and everything.
Yeah. We have to talk about it the next day and sound semi-intelligent. And I got, Aunt Judith next to me yapping. And I know I need to hear I got to focus on the game here. And it's just, talking about her Yorkie.
And then when the commercials come on, which, by the way, the commercials have been terrible for the last 5 years in a row.
Yeah, they've been very good.
10 years even. When the commercials come on, all of a sudden they're telling me to shush. No, this is my time to talk. I don't care about the commercials.
No, I'll differ with you. No, there's no talk. You can't talk during commercials or the game. It's a full experience. Third quarter commercials, you can talk.
My suggestion, we saw this last year with college football. Some theaters have decided to start putting college football games in theaters. Great idea for me. I'll go watch a college football game in a theater. Put the Super Bowl in a movie theater. Everybody's quiet. Everybody's hanging out. I know you want your food and everything. Maybe you can figure that out. Maybe there's a deal you can make with the movie theater, bring some food in. But a movie theater would be perfect for a Super Bowl experience if you want to be locked in from start to finish.
Oh, absolutely. That would be the NFL will never do it because the money,
so?
Because they
charge some tickets.
You'd have to charge a lot of money for the NFL to do that.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
How much do you think it would cost a movie theater to pick up the Super Bowl?
Oh
game?
my gosh, I don't.
How much does it cost? Bars and places, it can't cost them that much to play it, right?
I don't know. It's called Big Willie's. They would know. We got a contact.
It's just on NBC, so they just throw it up there. Or do they have to buy the bar?
I think they have to buy, if you're showing it on more than one TV in public.
Hey, if you're
Someone
if
must
you're an
know
owner
this.
out
Yeah,
there,
seriously, text us.
I want to know because the fights, like UFC fights, there's one thing for us for pay-per-view, but bars and places that show it with a ton of people have to pay a lot more money to get like a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah.
Is it the same to get the rights to show a Super Bowl?
That's on national television. Yeah.
That's on national television and not a pay-per-view behind the paywall type of deal.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever watched a huge game in a bar or a restaurant that you were really invested in? Because I never have. If I'm invested in a game, I always watch it at home.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't actually.
Yeah. That might be.
That way I can yell and scream and not look like a fool.
Well, yeah. The bar, you may fit right in depending on what bar you're at.
That's true.
Yeah, I like.
Well, going back to our earlier conversation that we just had about the long, dark, dreary highway, I have watched some games that I've been invested in out there.
I'll tell you what, that's not bad though, because I was down in.
I have been yelling too.
Yeah, I was down in Mesquite like 2 weeks ago, and if you place a bet, it doesn't matter how much, you get your own comfortable leather seat with the table and all that, and the huge screen. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
How much are those bays going for? Like in Vegas this weekend? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question because for the NCAA tournament, they charge a pretty penny at specifically Circa. At the Circa, they have that nice double-decker sports book, beautiful sports book. You have to reserve those seats, and they're nice seats. You have to reserve those. They're not cheap, my friend. $100 a seat.
Wow.
For the day.
For the day.
Yeah.
So you're not just. You know what? For the NCAA tournament, though, I might do it. That'd be fun.
It's a good time.
It's
packed.
Yeah.
You got to reserve those. Here's what I would recommend to all those out there that think they're going to do it. Don't do it for the NCAA tournament. Conference championship weekend.
Yeah.
That's the place to be.
Save some
Not as
cash.
many people.
Yeah.
But you can also, and they normally don't charge you for that weekend, but there's still so many games going on down there. That's the move.
That's a good call.
There you go.
That's fun.
All right, we're going to take our first break of the program. Do want to remind you the Sean O'Connell Show is now brought to you proudly by Big Willie Sports Bar in Salt Lake. From craft food to craft cocktails, they are the sports bar. Check them out today, 1717 South Main Street. Our friend Paul Pugmire is going to stop by. Let's talk some golf coming up next. We'll get you a PGA Tour leaderboard update on the Waste Management Phoenix Open. That's always brought to you by Uinta Golf. And that comes your way next on the Sean O'Connell Show. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci. It's Brice and Bianucci in for Sean O'Connell on a Friday. And that all comes your way next right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Moving right along on the Sean O'Connell Show. No OC today. He's out in like Dubai or something calling fights. So he'll be back on a Monday. But it is Brice and Bianucci. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci filling in for him right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. We're going to talk a little bit about some golf here because the Waste Management Phoenix Open underway this weekend. Of course, our PGA Tour leaderboard update of the Phoenix Open is always brought to you by our friends at Into Golf. So let's jump out to the ESPN 700 hotline. Welcome in. Paul Pugmire stands by to talk a little golf. Paul, it's been a minute since we last spoke. How are you doing?
Doing great. Nice to talk to you, man.
It's always great to have you on and have a great conversation about one of my favorite sports. The Waste Management Phoenix Open is one of the greatest, in my opinion, events of the golf year. And I just love watching this tournament. What are your thoughts on the Waste Management Phoenix Open to open it up a little bit here? And give us your thoughts on this tournament as opposed to the traditions of other tournaments.
Well, I love it. I like you. I think it's a terrific thing. I love how accessible it is to people by virtue of the just unreal amount of space they have at the facility. This was a golf course that was designed for the purpose of having a huge attendance, and they've pulled that off. They've got tons of parking. The access is easy. Everything about it is designed to be a party that lasts for a week, and that's exactly what they do. This is a little bit personal to me. I view this as my PGA tournament because I was living in Phoenix when they opened and developed the TPC Scottsdale and what is now the Waste Management. The Phoenix Open moved from an old school downtown course up to Scottsdale to where it is now. And so I watched it develop. I've been to it a lot, and it is fun. It is a rocket ride. Having said all that, I think it's really good that it is unique. I don't think the rest of the tour should try to be Waste Management. They're not. I think they should be what they are and honor their traditions. But I'm really glad that this event is on the calendar, and I'm really glad that it is what it is.
So for those that aren't familiar, the 16th hole, that's the party hole, right? That's the one where it's the par 3. You can go and watch it. It's the stadium seating, everything. How early does someone need to get there in order to get a seat at the 16th hole? Because this is like a coveted hole that everybody wants to go watch at.
Yeah, there's two answers to the question. And first of all, some context. It has really developed over the years. The most famous shot hit at 16, of course, is when Tiger Woods made the hole-in-one, and then he did the raise the roof thing with it pumping his hands. And when you look at the background on that video, don't focus on Tiger, focus on the background, you'll see that there wasn't much infrastructure. There was some bleachers and people standing on the mounds that were built for fans to stand on. Now they have a 3-story stadium that is made. It's temporary. They've got to take it down each year in order to meet the requirements of the fact that the land is in a flood zone. And so they've 3-story building that circles the entire hole, 160-yard par 3, and there's 10,000 people there. Now, the two answers to your question, one is there's a lot of pre-sold seating, a lot of corporate sponsor seating, a lot of group seating that's quite expensive and that they sell out. In order to get one of the GA seats, one of the seats that anybody can get to, you'd better be waiting in line by 5 o'clock in the morning when the gates open at 7, and you'd better be able to run, not walk, to get yourself out to 16 to get one of those seats.
Hey, Paul, I'm curious, how does this course play as far as the surface compared to other courses? You're in the desert. What's the difference down there?
Oh, the course can run firm and fast. And I've played it a lot. This is kind of a fun thing. Back in the day when they first opened, they had a promotion where you could play that course. If you had an Arizona driver's license, they'd let you play it for $12.50. So I played a lot. Let me tell you, those days are gone. but it was fun while it lasted. So the course is a really terrific design. It's a Tom Weiskopf design, the same great Tom Weiskopf who designed Black Desert down in St. George as his final project before he succumbed to cancer, sadly. But Tom Weiskopf designed this course, and it is a course that can bake out. It totally can, and it can get really firm, really fast, and it can run out from underneath you in a hurry. And that's its strongest defense. It's not a really difficult driving course. The green complexes are really good, and which is a hallmark of a Weiskopf design. And in particular, the 3 holes in a row that make up the real meat of the golf course, and that's 15, 16, and 17. We've already talked about 16, the Stadium Par 3, with a tough green complex. When that pin is on the left, if you try to go for the pin and tug it ever so slightly, that runoff down on the left side is so hard to get up and down from, and that's the design. It's made that way on purpose. But 15, a gettable par 5, but with an island green, and so take your chance and see how it works out, buddy. you can make a birdie there, you can make a 7, both of them really quickly. And then 17 is one of the great holes in the game of golf. It is a Tom Weiskopf signature hole, which is to say a drivable, a gettable par 4 with a lot of risk reward on it. And the combination of water left and front left of the green, and then the runoff into a collection area on the right of the green, and then the shape of the green and the crown to the green. These guys can get the ball there in 1, but the window is like 2 steps wide, and if you miss it, you might not make 4. And so coming down Sunday afternoon on back 9, you're in contention. What club do you pull on 17? It's a gut check, and it's fun to watch.
Paul Pugmire is our guest right here on ESPN 792.1 FM and the Sean O'Connell Show. Paul, let's talk a little bit about the leaderboard currently. Hideki Matsuyama in the pole position at the moment, 11 under. What have you thought about his game to this point and how he's been able to play this weekend?
Well, first of all, some context here. This is a courses for horses situation. Hideki has already won twice on this golf course. He's won this tournament twice. He won it back-to-back in 16 and 17. And so we know he can play here. In addition, he's had high finishes here as well. It's not quite the same situation as Tiger at Torrey and at Bay Hill. I mean, good land. Tiger had a Hall of Fame career on just those 2 courses. He won 15 tournaments over the years on just those two tournaments. And then in addition to that, on Torrey, he won a major. He won the U.S. Open. So it's not quite to that level, but it is significant that Hideki Matsuyama has won on this course twice already. And so to see him out there tearing it up, nobody is surprised, least of which Hideki. He goes into this tournament knowing, I've got this course. Hideki also is a player who he can really bounce back from poor starts, from poor finishes, and come on gangbusters quick. Not uncommon over Hideki's career to see him miss a couple of cuts and then win. So he's that kind of player as well. No surprise to see him at the top of the leaderboard, and by 3 for crying out loud.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You mentioned that. Chris Gotterup behind him at 8 under. He's going to tee off coming up at 12:55 p.m. Akshay Bhatia is at 7 under. Those are the top 3. Out of these guys that are on the leaderboard chasing Matsuyama, who do you think has the best chance to hunt him down and be able to pass him over the weekend?
Well, first of all, for all the reasons I just said, they're going to have to go get Hideki. He's not going to come back to him. But the one I am really intrigued with, Gotterup, and I'm glad for a chance to talk about him for a minute. This is a guy who is a former NCAA Player of the Year, and he's one of these transfer portal guys. He had a great career at Rutgers, and then for his senior year, he went to Oklahoma State, and they won a national championship. But this is an upcoming next star on the PGA Tour. He's got a ton of speed. He really hits it hard. Beautiful soft hands with his wedges, and he can get the putter hot. This is a name to remember and a player to watch. So if somebody can go chase him down, it's Chris Gotterup.
Give us your thoughts on how Tony's playing, because I'm looking at it here. T91 right now, 2 over, going to tee off later on this afternoon. A little bit of a slow start, not playing up to what we would love to see him play at. What are your thoughts on how Tony's played so far this weekend?
Yeah, Tony also has a real strong record on this golf course. Tony was in a playoff the year that Webb Simpson won it, and Simpson just got stupid at the end to beat Tony. He finished birdie, 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 and then in the playoff went birdie, birdie. He made 5 birdies in a row to beat Tony ultimately in a playoff, and so Tony has a good history on this course. He has had a bit of a scraping start to the year. He's made one cut. He's missed another cut. He hasn't played great. Had a good round at the Amex to climb up the leaderboard, and I think he snuck a backdoor top 10 out of that, so that's really great. But Tony has, to me, he looks like he has not fully got back into form from his foot surgery. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's just totally healthy, but just doesn't quite look right yet. And but he is Tony Finau. Pardon me. He'll find a way. He has shown that time and time again that he'll find a way.
All right. Hey, Paul, once again, appreciate you jumping on with us here. What's coming up on Utah Golf Radio tomorrow morning?
We're going to kick off our JetX Jug contest. This is the backdoor fantasy game we play on Utah Golf Radio. It's exclusive to us. And the JetX Jug is where it's a fantasy game where you're trying to identify the players who will barely make the playoffs. Not the top guys. You're trying to identify the bubble boys. And so you get a point in the game for every position you finish up until the guys who don't make the playoffs. And so number 70 is the cutoff. And starting at number 71, you get no points. And it's a year-long play for us. We have a lot of people play it, and we're kicking that off on the show tomorrow with a friend of the show, Rob Bolton from PGAtour.com. He runs the fantasy pages for the PGA Tour, and he's a big fan of the JetX. And so Rob's going to join us. We'll kick off the JetX Jug. It'll be a lot of fun. That's my favorite game to play. I play every year. Dibs on all the South African golfers. That's my go-to. Okay. I love that approach. Good luck. I'd love to give you a jug at the end of the year. All right. We'll see how it goes. Hey, one other thing just came to my mind. Utah Tech just had a freshman golfer win a tournament for the first time ever. How big of a win is that? A freshman golfer stepping in and winning a big-time tournament. Yeah, a couple things. David Lichty, and he will be on the show tomorrow as well. So it's no surprise that Lichty won. Lichty is a quality player, and he's got a terrific resume already at a very young age. But this is the very first individual win that Utah Tech has had since they became D1, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it is. So very, very significant in terms of the arc of the program. It matters that they now have an individual winner, and it's no surprise it's David Lichty. We're going to be talking to him on the show tomorrow as well. That's really awesome. Congratulations to him. Hey, thank you again, Paul. Thanks for jumping on with us. So fun. Thank you, guys. That is Paul Pugmire, and the Waste Management Phoenix Open continues throughout the weekend. This weekend, a lot of fun stuff happening down in Phoenix. As we mentioned, Hideki Matsuyama currently 8 under through the round, 8 and 11 under in total as he starts off round number 2. He's doing pretty good so far. Everybody's chasing after Matsuyama, the 2021 Masters winner. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to run away from the rest of the field. As always, the PGA Tour leaderboard updates brought to you by our friends at Uinta Golf. We will take a break here. We'll come back on the other side, and we will wrap up the first hour of the Sean O'Connell Show. We'll continue to push forward as we get you ready for Super Bowl Sunday, and we do it all right here on a special edition of the Sean O'Connell Show. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci. We're filling in for Sean. You can always find us over on Brice and Bianucci at 103.9 and 98.3 ESPN The Fan from 7 to 10 a.m. We'll take a break.
Finish up hour number 1 of the Sean O'Connell Show coming up next right here on ESPN 700. Anything specific you want to talk about here? We got the Sumer Sports, Lindsay Rhodes coming up at 12. So we can do something else. Basketball, a little jazz, a little college basketball or jazz? You think so? Oh, we could. Do a little college basketball. Super Bowl comes your way this weekend. I heard Bon Jovi's going to be part of it in some sort of way.
John Bon, I read, is going to introduce the Patriots.
Oh boy,
which
we don't need more.
unnecessarily.
We don't need more of The Rock on the sideline with the microphone doing the weird thing with everybody on the field.
It's already a spectacle.
Get that man off the field.
Can we just play the game? When I was a kid, I used to love watching like 10 hours of pregame.
Yeah.
And then I grew up, and I said, just let me watch the football game. I swear, I'm gonna strangle somebody if I have to see another celebrity on the field while the players and coaches are sitting around with their hands in their pockets, just like, can we kick the ball? Can we kick it off?
Yeah. All right, that comes your way this weekend. We'll see how this all turns out. It will be on NBC. Oh, we're having a fun competition. Sports betting, yada yada yada. We're having a friendly competition, friendly wager, you could say, between the two of us about the over-under on Collinsworth references to Patrick Mahomes.
That's right, yes.
This is fun. We've set it at
3.5?
3.5. I took the over. And I'm talking about any time Patrick Mahomes is brought up, not just, like, even if it's a graphic, and he mentions Patrick Mahomes in the graph. Oh, there's my best friend, Patrick Mahomes. Even that counts as a reference to Patrick Mahomes. He is going to compare Darnold and Drake May to Patrick Mahomes at least 2 times throughout this. So that gives me 2 right there. Throw the graphic up, that's a third. I just need 1 more from Collinsworth on the Patrick Mahomes reference.
Yeah, Mike, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but what a throw by Sam Darnold.
Now here's a guy. No, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but
3 is here's why I took the under. Is Collinsworth is acutely aware that everyone's making fun of him for this. And he will consciously realize that because I'm telling you,
he leans into it.
He does during regular season games. During the Super Bowl, I think he's gonna get nervous about going over the top with it.
Okay.
That's why I think he's gonna do it at least 3 times, but I don't think he'll go over that.
All right.
That's a great, a great prop bet, by the way.
Yes, that should be offered.
That should be offered.
It should be offered, but I don't know if it's going to be. It's offered in Brice and Bianucci land.
That's right. Collinsworth can make a lot of cash off that if it were offered.
If you want to join us in our escapade of the Collinsworth over and under 3.5, where are you hitting it on the Patrick Mahomes reference on the text-in line at 877-353-0700? I'd love to know.
I got one. Are we going to see – okay, have you noticed that during the Sunday night games, because NBC is getting baseball this coming year?
Okay.
They get a cool drone.
They just get everything. They get the Super Bowl. Yeah. They've got NBA basketball. Now they got Sunday night baseball.
They have Sunday night baseball. They have the Olympics. They have it all.
Okay.
They have ER's not on the air anymore. They don't have ER anymore. Every Sunday night football game so far since they've gotten baseball, no World Cup either. That's
Is that Fox?
That's Fox.
Gotcha.
Okay. They do a drone shot of the big league stadium that's in that city. So like they were at New England the other night.
Okay.
They did a drone shot of Fenway, and then they did a drone shot of Wrigley when they had the Bears game. Will they do a drone shot of Oracle in San Francisco
during the Super Bowl?
During the Super Bowl.
See, that's a good one because it's the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You can't do that, but then maybe they will do it.
I think they'll do it because they want that promo, right?
Yeah.
For Sunday Night Baseball,
especially with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something to think about.
Good stuff. All right. Do you think this Super Bowl is going to break records in terms of viewership numbers?
If I had to lean one way, I think it will, just because Nielsen, this is real inside baseball for people that care about TV ratings. Nielsen is counting more people. They're counting quote-unquote out-of-home viewers now. So you see everything's breaking records. Part of that is because they're counting more people. So I think so. If it weren't the Patriots and the Seahawks, if the Chiefs were in this game or the Bears or something, it would absolutely break it. But right. I wonder what the interest is with Patriots and the Seahawks.
Yeah. 2 coastal teams, so maybe that brings in a little bit more eyeballs on each side. We'll find out. We will find out. That's your Super Bowl look ahead. We will also do that with Lindsay Rhodes from Sumer Sports coming up in just a couple of minutes. Before we do so, Jordan, I do want to transition over to college basketball here in the state of Utah. I know the Utes, the running Utes, Alex Jensen, not playing up to par, not hoping what we were going to see in terms of a big-time step forward. Does look like, they're working things out on that side of things. There are some other teams around the state of Utah that are playing some good basketball. BYU's not currently one of those teams. They don't play defense. And I've said this on Brice and Bianucci, the ROTs, the rest of them, they're not stepping up and helping out when they come off the bench. Give up 99 on the road to Oklahoma State. And
you scored 92.
You scored 92. You don't win that game. Some disappointment reigning supreme down in Provo, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. They can turn it around because we've seen flashes and more than just flashes. They gave UConn a run. They've beaten some good teams, but if this continues and they go out, let's say in the second round of the tournament, it will be a massive disappointment. And I think that's fair based on the money they've spent, the talent they've brought in. Right. And Kevin Young's he's a very good coach, obviously. Huge disappointment. They're running at what do you have? A month. You got a month to gel. And that's what BYU did last year. Is in January we were like, this isn't a very good basketball team, and then they gelled in March and they looked really good. But you're gonna need some guys not named Saunders, DiBonza, or Wright to step up, and no one's doing it right now.
All right. On a side note, as part of that, actually the bigger story that's come out of that game specifically is a lot of back and forth between BYU fans and Oklahoma State fans. The reports initially were the chants that were coming out of that, the F the Mormon chants coming out of Oklahoma State. We've got a controversy here, Jordan, because Oklahoma State fans are saying they were not yelling that. They were yelling refs a Mormon, like, because he was at the free throw line.
Yeah.
The students were saying the referee was a Mormon. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I wasn't there in person, watched it on TV. You kind of get attuned to that chant, and you're like, okay, there it is, because all you hear is mostly the back portion. They're very straight, like they're standing on business, Oklahoma State fans, saying they did not chant that. Brett Yormark has a mess to figure out here, Jordan.
Yeah, good luck with that. If it was refs a Mormon, right? That's
refs a Mormon, like the referee is a Mormon.
That's pretty close. That's not bad. It's not a 10, but it's not like a 4, 3, or a 4.
Yeah,
it's not terrible. I'll give him credit for that.
Okay.
We're breaking down audio. Like, what are we doing? We're like, that's where I want to give them the benefit of the doubt here, because no other school. And if I'll say this, if they were chanting "F the Mormon" and someone came up with, "Hey, what if we just tell them no? We were saying refs a Mormon." They're geniuses, and they should be applauded for that type of deception.
So my thought along those lines is, now, if we say, hey, we acquiesce to, hey, well, yeah, kind of, knowing that you can kind of maybe hear refs instead of F at the beginning of that chant. So does this become the next "Let's Go Brandon" for anti-BYU chants, which I think is also a bad thing, right?
Like, it essentially means the same thing.
That refs a Mormon?
Is refs a Mormon instead of F the Mormons? Refs a Mormon is now going to be against every road game BYU plays. It's going to be refs a Mormon, the way "Let's Go Brandon" became code for something else.
Interesting.
Which I also think is a bad thing. So I don't know.
So you're saying either way, don't chant it. Is that what the stance you're taking?
My stance is either way. In this case, if they really did chant refs a Mormon, okay, that's not the big a deal that BYU fans and people around here thought it was.
Right.
But it could become something that, we'll just say F the Mormons in code now, which is also a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how much good actually comes out of this.
Right. Well, that's the situation the Big 12 finds themselves in. I'm glad I'm not Brett Yormark right now.
Yeah,
I figure all this out.
Yeah, no idea what you do.
We'll keep you up to date on that and more. It is 12, so we got to hit a break and get out to Lindsey Rhodes, a Sumer Sports NFL analyst. We'll talk some more Super Bowl coming up here in just a couple of minutes. I do have some more on Utah State and Utah Valley. Maybe we can get to a little bit later on, especially this lawsuit with Utah Valley. I've got some insight into that. Would love to share it. Maybe later on in the program if we get the opportunity to do so. You're listening to the Sean O'Connell Show. I'm Brice Larson. That is Jordan Bianucci. We're filling in. It's Brice and Bianucci for Sean O'Connell. Hour number 2 comes your way with Lindsey Rhodes, Sumer Sports NFL analyst. Comes up next on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Okay, the 12 o'clock hour on the Sean O'Connell Show. No OC this morning. It's Brice Larson and Jordan Bianucci sitting in for him. You can find us on Brice and Bianucci every morning over on the other ESPN station, 103.9 and 98.3 FM up and down the Wasatch Front. But today, right here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM, filling in for our good friend Sean O'Connell. Going to talk some Super Bowl here in a minute. Do want to remind you, you can find us streaming live over at ESPN700sports.com, on the ESPN 700 app, and more, of course, over on YouTube at ESPN 700 Sports Utah on YouTube. Let's jump out to the ESPN 700 hotline and welcome in Lindsay Rhodes from Sumer Sports. Lindsay, appreciate your time this morning. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Let's talk some Super Bowl. What do you think the biggest, we've talked a little bit about this here and kind of broken it down as much as we could all week long. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to run away and hide in the Super Bowl. I don't know that it's going to be super competitive. I hope it is, but tell me, maybe for those out there hoping for a competitive game, tell me why I might be wrong there. It's going to be a little bit more competitive.
Well, so you're saying that the Seahawks win big?
Yes, that's what I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I think if it is lopsided, that's the direction in which it's lopsided. That's my guess. I think it's probably more likely that the Seahawks win in a closer game. And I think if the Patriots win, it will be low scoring and close. I think the Seahawks defense is so good. And, the Patriots, we've seen they've had a murderer's row of defenses that they needed to go through to get here. You have to face the Texans and the Broncos and the Seahawks in succession. And by the way, before that, the Chargers, who are also very good on the defensive side of the ball. It's just been wild. I think that what we've seen from them on offense is probably going to be somewhat similar to what we see in the Super Bowl. I think I'm a little bit worried, and one of the things that I'll be keeping my eye on is the Seahawks are able to get pressure without blitzing very frequently. They blitz at a low rate and get pressure at a high rate. And I am curious about how Drake May will handle that, because if there is a weakness in his game, I think it is his ability to handle that pressure. Sack avoidance is something that he needs to work on. And by the way, that was the story with Caleb Williams 2 years ago, and then he got much better in that specific area this year. There have been 2 games in the postseason so far where Drake May has had 0 pressure to escape attempts, meaning that their pressure came, and very often he did tuck it and run, and he can scramble, and he's very athletic. And so that's a strength of his game. He takes too many sacks in those situations. What you'd like to see is the number of, okay, I'm going to evade the rush, flush out of the pocket, but keep my eyes up and look to throw and take a few more shots downfield, because that's the most efficient way to get the ball downfield. That's the area he needs to get better at in the future, even though he's my vote for MVP. I think he had an incredible season. But if the Patriots are going to win, I think it's probably going to be something that Vrabel cooks up on defense that causes problems for the Seahawks offense. And specifically, I think that we're probably going to need to see him force Sam Darnold into a couple of mistakes in order to get a win. And by the way, I want to be very clear. I am not saying that Sam Darnold will turn back into the Sam Darnold that saw ghosts, because I've heard that a lot this week. It sounds like people are expecting like the carriage to turn back into a pumpkin and are waiting for the clock to strike midnight or something. I don't think that's where we are. He's developed. He's a different quarterback than he once was. All quarterbacks can make mistakes if a good defense baits them into it. We saw that with Josh Allen in the postseason. We've seen it with Drake May in the postseason as well. But I think that that's the path to the Patriots winning if they are able to do so.
Lindsay, who has the edge as far as coaching goes? Because Vrabel's been there before as a player. We were talking to McDaniels, coached in, I think, 10 Super Bowls. Does New England have that advantage as far as their staff goes?
Well, they have an insane staff, right? Like, McDaniels is so interesting to me because I don't like him as a head coach. I just think and not just because he hasn't done well, there are things about him that I don't think actually make for a good head coach personally. And I think it's a very different job to be a head coach than it is to be a coordinator. And I think we've learned time and time again, he's an incredibly good coordinator. And people sort of make the mistake of saying, okay, you've proven it again, let's make you a head coach again. But I love him in this role. He's been incredible for Drake May and the offense and putting them in the best possible positions. And then Vrabel, obviously, I think the thing about Vrabel that goes underrated is his skill in game management situations. And that is one of the ways that people who are good coordinators and become head coaches oftentimes just struggle with that. It's timing. It's understanding when to call a timeout, what situations are worth calling timeouts for, and when you shouldn't. I mean, we saw that play. Was it the AFC Championship game where Drake May takes off and slides? And by the way, he looked like he had his eye on the clock and did it at the exact perfect time, which tells me about his game management skills. But then Vrabel was right there watching the clock and called the timeout just to give them enough time. I think that he's really, really good at that. That said, Mike Macdonald is what he's done in Seattle and what Clint Kubiak, I think, has done with the offense is also so good. Macdonald is obviously like one of our boy geniuses from a defensive standpoint. But Clint Kubiak, I think what he's done this year that's been a little bit underrated is the way they manage that offense. They run a ton, which a lot of people in analytics are like, please stop doing this as much because it's a low efficiency play. And they are inefficient. They were the 29th team in the regular season in rush EPA. So they ran a ton and did not run it particularly well. But what they did, because they also run a lot of play action and put 12 personnel on the field, that's 2 tight ends, 1 running back, is they're trying to bait the defense into giving them a look that's closer to base. Everyone runs nickel now. You see a lot of dime. Base is no longer the actual base defense. And you want to get a defensive look that will allow you to throw the ball downfield efficiently. And they just run, and then go, that's the look. Now we're going to throw. And so they throw very infrequently, but they are 8th in pass EPA. They're one of the most efficient passing teams in the NFL, even though they don't pass that much. So they can get away with not passing that much because they're hitting big plays when they actually do. So I think that what they've done with the talent that they have on their roster and looked at it and said, how can we maximize this and be as efficient as possible with the pieces we have? I think it's been nothing short of brilliant. So that's a very long answer about coaching. And I don't know if I feel comfortable picking one side or over the other. I think it's going to be a fascinating chess match. And I think they're really good coaches on both sides of the ball.
Another big storyline about this game heading into the weekend has been the injuries to both quarterbacks. Drake May's dealing with the shoulder, the injury to his throwing shoulder, and then Sam Darnold with the oblique. Do you think either one of these injuries comes into play coming up during the Super Bowl? And does one worry you more than the other in terms of just the nature of those two injuries?
I am not particularly worried, and maybe I'm undervaluing it. There's a part of me that thinks, I mean, we've seen them doing things this week. It's not like the Super Bowl injuries that I think we've talked about in the past that end up being sometimes problems in games and sometimes not. It's like when they're literally not practicing and we're not seeing something and it's like a touch and go situation, not necessarily quarterbacks, but other positions. I think that ideally you want your quarterback to be full strength, but this is the Super Bowl. And so I think the adrenaline will be on tilt, and things that might actually bother them in other games are going to be less likely to bother them in this one because of the sheer adrenaline and if you're going to power through an injury and just make it work regardless of whatever pain it causes, it is this particular game. And I don't think that their injuries are such that I see it being like physically I cannot do this. And so therefore this is a problem.
Have you been out in San Francisco for the full week covering the Super Bowl leading up to it?
Yeah, I got in on Sunday. So I've been at Radio Row every day. So I haven't been out at the practices or talking to the players or anything like that. I've been here kind of talking to everybody in the media, going on different radio stations, podcasts, talking to different people and kind of getting their take on all of the things related to the game and then obviously everything else that's going on in the NFL. It's a fun week because you just get a chance to assess in conversation with a lot of smart people, sort of how they see the lay of the land and kind of stack their opinions up against your opinions. And it's a way to sort of form new opinions or to look at things differently. So my week is very specific in that regard, but I always love getting an opportunity to talk to more people.
So what have your thoughts been about what Roger Goodell's come out about the future of the NFL, trying to push for more international games and the way that they're guiding the NFL into more of an international product? What are your thoughts on what we've heard this week about that specific portion of Super Bowl week?
Well, I think from a business standpoint, it makes sense. I understand why fans at home would not necessarily want more games to be in weird weird times, or I mean, honestly, they're never at weird times for us. So strike that. They don't want to have to travel maybe all over the world to go to one of their team's home games, or they think that they're losing an actual home game in order to be the home team in a situation where they're not actually the home team. There are lots of different things I think that you could potentially look at the travel in terms of what that means for you on the back end. Do you automatically get a bye? Are you going to be behind the 8 ball because you've traveled all over the world? I think all of those things are valid concerns for sure. As a product, I think that the NFL has sort of peaked in terms of its popularity in the United States, and the next obvious step for any business to take is to say, let's bring this to the world. Like, soccer is much more popular all over the world, and I think that they probably look at their product as being a product that, for the same reasons that it's so popular in America, that it should be popular in other places, and so exposure is good in that regard. I mean, I kind of feel like the more the merrier. Let's bring you to the party. I think this is the best game that there is. And I think it's also the easiest game to follow, which is weird because certainly the rules are tricky and 11 sleep, and it's hard to explain to people who are casual. But if you even just start off in the most basic way, and you tell them a few stories that can grab you, this is one of the only sports in the world for which every game actually matters all season long. I mean, you could argue that at the end of the year in baseball, like a win or a loss might get you in or out of the playoffs, but like you're playing 162, those things go in cycles and waves. This one is literally every single game is going to determine where you're going to be at the end of the season and matters. And every game has its own built-in matchup story and storyline about like this coach versus that coach that he used to, or that he used to work with or whatever. There's so many different ways that you can pull people in and give them a reason to feel invested in that one individual game that's going on that week. And so I think it's the easiest sport to cover. I think it's the easiest sport to get invested in. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see the growth, to see it grow internationally based on the NFL's efforts. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
NFL analyst for Sumer Sports, Lindsay Rhodes, with us here on the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 at 92.1 FM. Lindsay, how many Super Bowls have you had the opportunity to cover in your career so far?
You know what's weird? And I got this question earlier this week and realized I need to count that at some point because I want to have that answer. I do want to know. I don't know. I went to everyone after Dallas, and I don't even remember which team that was, but I went to Dallas when it snowed in Dallas. And then I went to every Super Bowl until Miami, and then I went to the last 2. So I missed about 4. So it's been a few. It's been a few. It's such a, I mean, obviously it's such a bucket list kind of thing if you're into football to try and get to a game, or even honestly come the week of to the city, because I'm always thinking, like, if you just camped out, and I'm trying to encourage people to do this, but if you camped outside of Radio Row, the number of people that just go in and out that are your favorite athletes is wild. Like, I mean, stories galore, but like yesterday I'm getting in the elevator to go to my room in the hotel, and the elevator door opens up and out comes Aiden Hutchinson. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, my son would die if he was just where I was all week long, just in terms of the proximity to all of your favorite players, because people who aren't playing in the game come here to pitch their product or for honors or for this year, the Pro Bowl. And so if you are a football fan, it's just such a fun energy. And the NFL does a great job of throwing a bunch of different parties around town. And so I feel very, very fortunate, and I've never gotten to the point, regardless of how many Super Bowls I've covered or been to, where it doesn't feel cool anymore. Like, this is just undeniably cool, and I feel very, very fortunate to be a part of it in any way.
It sounds like a really cool opportunity. What's been your favorite destination that you've been at for a Super Bowl, and how does each destination differ? Because it seems like, you just go do the same thing in a different destination, but is it really that way in reality?
So my favorite Super Bowl cities are the smaller ones, weirdly. Like, you have to be a certain size. You have to be big enough that you can handle all of the people. You have to have the infrastructure from a hotel standpoint and all that kind of stuff. But I think that the best Super Bowl cities are the ones where it does get a little bit more compact and there's a smaller downtown area. And I don't have a specific favorite, but I know that the ones where things are really spread out over a great distance, that is what detracts from the things that I think make it special that I just outlined, where you're like walking down the street and seeing Hall of Famers and your favorite players. and you can't avoid them. If you go to and I live in Los Angeles and I love LA, I rep LA all the time. I don't think it's a great Super Bowl city because what is LA? That's what I tell people, and they're like, I'm coming to LA, and I'm like, where? Does that mean Santa Monica? Does that mean the South Bay? Does that mean downtown LA? Does that mean LA is so many different parts of LA, which is one of the things that's beautiful about LA, but it's not like a city where everyone kind of experiences the same type of thing. And so I think when San Francisco, the thing about San Francisco that's tough is the traffic. It's the weirdest traffic city where it can take you like a half hour to go 3 blocks. And so I think for whatever reason, this one actually is a tough one. And then you have all of the actual football events taking place in San Jose or Santa Clara, which is so far away from San Francisco. It's like an entirely different place. So I wouldn't say that this is one of my favorites. I actually like the smaller ones.
Yeah, and I asked that question to preface the next one, which is about Kansas City, specifically Chicago. They're all planning these, or at least trying to plan to build indoor stadiums, and it feels like it's a play to get the Super Bowl in their cities. What are your thoughts about these new stadium designs that are coming out that are indoor stadiums that kind of take away from that cool outdoor feel and especially the weather portion of NFL football that we all have come to love too?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, I think, because I can actually see both sides on this one. Because I love a good weather game as much as anyone. I mean, you put snow flurries on my television screen and you watch the green turn to white, and I'm like, I am hooked. It is just cinematic. I love it. And there's also an argument for that being another layer of roster building that you have to take into consideration. You have to be able to play in a bunch of different types of weather environments, indoors, outdoors. You got to be able to win different ways, and that's a skill set that teams and roster builders, front office people should have to keep in mind. But there's also a component of sometimes the best team doesn't win in the playoffs when that's the case, because you just say, okay, we're going to take away the thing that you do best, and then all of a sudden it's a ground and pound and you just can't throw the ball. And then nobody wants to see a team that has literally the best passing attack, which is the most valuable thing to have in football, just on one day not matter at all. So I'm very, very split on that. I think that Chicago would be a great Super Bowl city. I think it would be a really, really cool Super Bowl city. I think it's such a fun city, and there is kind of an area of like a quote unquote downtown that feels like you could put all of this stuff. And so I would love to see that one way or another, to be honest with you.
All right, Lindsay, before we let you go, and we appreciate your time here this afternoon, before we let you go, how do you think this Super Bowl is going to play out? Patriots, Seahawks, where does this go, and who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks. I haven't actually thought of a numerical score. I'm going to go Seahawks somewhere in the I think they probably cover. I could see it being like a 6-7 point spread. I'm going to take them in the low 20s somewhere, and I think that the Patriots are probably somewhere in the mid to high teens. That I know that that's super vague, and I should just come up with a 23-17 or something like that. But I think that that's how I see it playing out.
Okay, well, we'll see how it plays out. I think the Seahawks are going to roll and run away and hide in this one. Unfortunately, hopefully it's a better one.
Possible. I think that that's possible. Honestly, I really do. So we'll see who's right on Sunday.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much for jumping on with us, and have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Okay.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
No doubt. That is Lindsay Rhodes from Sumer Sports, an NFL analyst. Really good insight from Lindsay.
Yeah, that's great. That's great stuff. Want some advice for people in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Don't get in a car. Just walk the 3 blocks. Take you about 10 minutes.
I think they're going further than 3 blocks.
I don't know that you can. No, but in all seriousness, San Francisco, it's a tiny city. It's teeny. You can walk from one end to the other.
You're just saying if you're in San Francisco itself, and the only place you're going is 4 blocks away, just don't even worry about the car.
No, do not get it. No, if you're going 10 blocks away, don't get in a car.
Just walk.
Just walk it.
Hop on the trolley.
No, I mean that's not going to really help you out that much. It's more of a
I've never been to. Well, that's a lie. I've been to San Francisco. Literally drove through it, stood on the Golden Gate Bridge, then left.
Seriously, this is a theme is emerging here of your road trips. You drive through and by major metropolises. You drove through. You went
So
through
the people
mid-
need context on here.
Okay, you went through the Midwest on one trip, drove by Chicago, didn't stop in Chicago.
That's right. I
You-
saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah, but you did stop in Sandusky, Ohio. You
Shout
went-
out Cedar Point.
You went to the Northeast. You did go to Boston, but you didn't stop in New York. But you did go to upstate New York.
I went to Rochester,
Oh, everybody.
where weirdly enough everything closes at like 6 p.m. If
No.
you want anything in Rochester, New York, you have to get out before 6 p.m.
I could have called that one for you. You know where everything stays open? New York City. You-
None of the. I just want to let everybody know none of this was my choice. I was
No.
just along for the ride on that big long car ride.
Hey, at least you got to see the Golden Gate Bridge, though.
That's right.
It's kind of cool.
That is cool. It is cool. Anyway, so there you go. There's a little hindsight to me,
Okay.
if you wanted to know. Super Bowl comes your way once again right here on ESPN 792.1 FM. The pregame show kicks off at 10 a.m. Then you'll have kickoff right about 4:30 p.m. right here on Utah's number one sports talk, ESPN 792.1 FM. All right, coming up next, the Daily Dump. We're going to get into the top stories, headlines from around the world of sports. We've got a lot of them coming your way. A lot to do with the Super Bowl and more. That comes up next. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci. We're filling in for Sean O'Connell on a Football Friday edition of the program. And that all's right here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Yes, sir. It is time for the Daily Dump on the Sean O'Connell Show. Brice Larson and Jordan Bianucci. It is Brice and Bianucci together filling in on a football Friday for our good friend Sean O'Connell. We're going to get into the Daily Dump, the top stories around the world of sports and more. A lot of top headlines as we get you ready for the weekend, including Jordan Bianucci. It is now up on our TV screen here in studio. The opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympic Games.
Okay, I wondered what that was. It was like, what is this, some kind of mega church thing? There was just a dude in a spotlight talking, trying to bring me to Jesus.
A bit like a mega church issue. Something going on over here.
Hold on, you're Bianucci. This has got to be an exciting
a
Olympics
moment
for you. Milan Cortina, the homeland. That's Olympics for you.
That's right, James. If you could put the Italian subtitles on for me, I'd really know what's happening.
So anybody that wants to know, if you get Olympic updates anywhere, you should get them on our show over on ESPN 103.9 and 98.3 FM from 7 to 10, because Jordan actually does them in Italian.
Gonna do them in Italian. I don't speak Italian. Keep that in mind. But we have the Google Translate. Called some of the family over in Italy. Been like, como bobsled in Italiano. And, slowly but surely, we're getting there.
Do you have family that still lives?
Yeah, I do,
okay.
But I've never called them James, so it might be a little weird if I do reach out now.
My name is Jordan.
Jordan Bianucci. Bianucci?
Bianucci.
Si.
Grazie.
So we'll keep you up to date with all things on the Winter Olympics in a fun way over there on Brice Bianucci. But obviously, my favorite thing that I've tuned in for every day is James Peterson's curling updates. I've loved those.
Yeah, well, that's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay,
we'll have. I am the curling correspondent for the Sean O'Connell Show.
Nice.
If you guys want to choose some sports, I'll tell you the ones that are taken. We've got Nordic skiing. That's Adrian Denny's. He's every Wednesday for Between the Pipes. He's going to also, after we talk Utah Mammoth and some Olympic hockey, of course, he's going to also give us a Nordic skiing update. And then Jeff Schwartz from Fox Sports Radio and a bunch of other things. On Tuesdays when he joins the show, he's going to give us an update on bobsledding.
Okay.
So also a good pick.
So he wanted curling, but I had already taken it. So
we all want everybody wants curling.
Everyone wants curling. I was fortunate enough he asked me first. Now, Summer Olympics in Paris, he did not ask me first, even though it was very convenient to ask me first. So I got one of the slim pickings at the end. But this time
I got stuck with water.
Yeah, exactly. This time he's like I was thrilled that he got to me first, because I'm taking curling off the board.
There we go.
So those are the ones taken. I don't believe. Oh, Spence, that's right. Spence chose biathlon, or in his words, skiing and then you shoot a guy.
Oh, I know.
That's the one I want.
See,
okay.
You should have said that first. I said biathlon. I'm not sure what that is. And he said skiing and then you shoot somebody.
You shoot the rifle at a target, to be clear, not at a person.
Not actually shooting people.
That James Bond movie. That's what happened in that. That was pretty cool.
So biathlon, Nordic skiing, curling, and bobsled have been taken. So if you guys want to think on it and come up with your own.
I would love to take speed skating.
I knew that was coming. I knew. I was like,
give me speed skating.
I knew it.
Dibs, speed skating.
Right. I hate to break it to you. Apollo Ono's not participating.
Which, by the way, I am going to ask Spence Checketts about later. We're doing crosstalk with Spence Checketts, I assume.
We
are.
Going
to ask Spence about him being able to see Apollo Ono in person when he worked at the Delta Center during those Olympics here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. In 2002, Apollo Ono was still skiing. Or skating, excuse me. Skiing. Jordan, you may want to be the Lindsey Vonn expert to check out what's going on with their ACL.
Well,
it's impressive.
As an expert, my dad, my 69-year-old father, did text me, guys, and said that when he tore his ACL, he said he was literally dragging his leg around the house.
And skiing.
Yeah, that's right. So keep that in mind.
And hers wasn't just a tear. Hers was a complete rupture.
She had her training session, went down the hill, down a mountain
Yeah.
with the ruptured ACL. My favorite thing about that story after she told the media, "Hey, I'm confident I can do this," was there's no swelling and I got a knee brace.
Nice.
Like, okay, well, I guess you don't need an ACL. You got that.
It's just a stabilizer. You don't need it.
Go to a Civil War doctor. It's like, no, it's fine. I gotta. They taped some plywood to it, and then after
just
the
a flesh
event,
wound.
after the event, we may just amputate it. So if I get gangrene, I have a knee brace. I don't understand how that works. That's unbelievable.
Hey, it's just a stabilizing ligament. So
I guess the brace
helps to stabilize it.
Is a good substitute for an ACL. I don't know.
Does Jeff Schwartz know that there is a UVU track and field star that's on the U.S. bobsled team?
No, but we're gonna have to let him know.
There you go.
Give the local angle there.
Yeah. Utah Valley University.
We're gonna have to tell him what UVU
Olympics.
stands for. I'm sure because he's out in Charlotte.
Let him
We're
know.
having to say Utah Valley University.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What's the name of the?
You put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll have to check it.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
Have to look it up, and we'll get back to you.
I believe it's Sanka from the Cool Runnings guy.
Oh,
He's-
yes,
he's on-
Sanka. Yeah, man.
You seen that
All right.
movie, Brice?
Yes, I have, actually.
You've
That
seen
is
Cool
one of
Runnings?
the 4 movies I've seen.
Wow,
Wow.
it's a good movie.
Not by my own choice, though. Someone else was watching it. I was in the room. So there you go.
Are most of the movies that you've seen?
By osmosis?
Yes. Are they you on an airplane and the person next to you is watching a movie?
Something like that. Yeah.
Is it with sound or without sound, like Bobby Wagner
Yeah.
watching The Martian? And just like sneakily peeking over at the other person's screen.
Yeah. It depends on the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking
Hey,
of,
speaking of Bobby
Wagner,
Wagner.
you're right. One of the top headlines: Bobby Wagner, former Utah State linebacker, named the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That was part of the NFL awards, NFL honors the other day. Also, along with that, Matthew Stafford, the 2025 NFL MVP, first NFL MVP of his career. Drake May was right behind him, and it was a close vote, Jordan. We talked about this morning on our show. They gave the breakdown on the ESPN article specifically of like the voting and how it all works. Somehow, someone, somewhere voted for Justin Herbert with the first place vote as the NFL MVP.
And that's what
Josh
gave it-
Allen with 2 votes for first place votes in the NFL MVP. And I have a sneaking suspicion maybe that's why Matthew Stafford just eked it out past Drake May. If those 3 people would have been for real with their votes and chose one of the 2, maybe Drake May would have gotten 2 of those 3 votes and been the NFL MVP.
Well, James probably knows this as a Colts fan, but Peyton Manning, the last time it was this close was Peyton Manning and McNair were co-MVPs, right? Like
Yeah.
in 2002?
2004.
2004.
Yeah, 04. Peyton Manning's first MVP award. He shared the MVP with Steve McNair, Air McNair,
That's amazing.
who, by the way, Brice, do you know Steve McNair?
Yes, I know
Curious
Steve
about
McNair.
that.
You know what his
Well,
number,
I
I
you
don't know what his
his,
jersey
do you know
what his
number
number
was.
was? I-
We're not going to get
think
into
I
that
know his
conversation.
number.
again.
No, I just the only reason I asked that is because I feel like there's a generation that did not know this guy's greatness, and
Yeah.
it's worth even after he had lost kind of his fastball when he joined the Ravens after his career with the Titans.
Yeah.
But that was when the Ravens went from post that first Super Bowl win, they were just bad for like half a decade, and then they signed Steve McNair, and all of a sudden from that point on, and I think that was the end of the Brian Billick era into the John Harbaugh era, which just ended. They've been a perennial contender pretty much. So it was anyway, but he was one of my favorites of that era.
He was great. I had a Steve McNair jersey as a kid, and I wasn't even a Titans fan.
I would absolutely buy a Steve McNair jersey now.
Yeah. He
because
was
of that.
he was so a lefty. He was fun to watch.
Unfortunately, passed away way too young too.
Absolutely.
Interesting documentary on Netflix, Brice, that you can check out about Steve McNair. Sad.
Since you don't know him at all.
Yeah, but interesting.
Just kidding.
He was a football player.
I'm in on the documentaries.
You like the documentaries?
Yes.
Which are-
I'm in on
I-
the documentaries.
Did not realize that this was probably the closest MVP vote since then, though. That's been a long time, over 20 years since Peyton Manning won his first MVP.
Were you surprised it was that close? I was a little surprised.
I thought it was going to be close.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought if it was going to be Matthew Stafford, he'd eke it out just barely, and that's what happened. So I wasn't super surprised that it was close. What I was surprised about was when I saw the actual voting breakdown
yeah.
and saw someone voted for Justin Herbert with the first place vote. That did surprise me.
Tanya, it's that blogger in Southern California.
Was that Jim Harbaugh?
Well, we were joking
under a fake name.
Exactly. We were joking about that this morning. We're like, who was this Jim Harbaugh that voted for Herbert?
Yeah, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So that all happened just the other day. Also, the announcement of the Hall of Famers, Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Hall of Famers on the first ballot. You also had Luke Kuechly in the mix there. He was part of that list as well, and a couple of other players that made it into the Hall of Fame this go around. That
Roger Craig finally made it in, right?
Yeah, he was the only one out of the senior group, Roger Craig.
Okay, and he's one that got the votes instead of Belichick and Robert Kraft. Is that right? Wasn't it he in that group that Belichick and Kraft were part of?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. Eric Weddle coming up next year, eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for the first time. That's alongside a list of really good players. Listen to this list of players who are eligible coming up next year for the Hall of Fame. Rob Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson, Richard Sherman, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Cam Newton, Andrew Whitworth, and Eric Weddle.
Holy cow. Cam Newton's not a Hall of Famer.
You don't think so?
Right. He didn't have the longevity.
I kind of think he is.
Is he? I would trust your opinion over
the
mine.
MVP.
I'd have to go look at the numbers.
Yeah.
The MVP season was one of statistically, I think it's the most rushing touchdowns a quarterback's ever had, and he threw over 30 passing touchdowns. It was an incredible MVP season, and yeah, he had some years where he was not the reason the Panthers were contenders, but he had plenty more where he kind of was, including that MVP season. So I think he kind of is, but I don't think he's first ballot.
Okay. All right.
He's going to get the Belichick treatment. He's not going to be first ballot.
We'll see how it happens with Cam Newton. That list of names is crazy, though. Really interesting names on that. Eric Weddle on that list, and a Yahoo Sports article that was written by Jack Baer, a staff writer at yahoosports.com, wrote this about Eric Weddle, saying Weddle spent a solid decade as one of the top NFL safeties for the San Diego Chargers and Baltimore Ravens, earning 6 Pro Bowl nods, hauling in 29 interceptions in his career. He had a strong case when he retired in 2020, but his return to the Rams in the 21-22 postseason after the pair of devastating injuries was one of the biggest stories in their Super Bowl title, especially when he didn't let that pec tear stop him from playing every defensive snap. So what do you think about Mr. Weddle?
Yeah, not next year, but yeah, maybe eventually. He was such a great, just all-around player. That's a good question.
Did you guys also see Weddle at Weddle's Beard on Twitter commented on Fox Sports graphic where it showed all the first-time Hall of Famers, and it had everyone that you named except Eric Weddle on the graphic, and he goes, I think you're missing somebody.
Gotta advocate for yourself on
really
X.
good.
That's funny.
By the way, I did leave Alex Mack off that list as well. He's the former Cleveland Browns, Falcons, and 49ers offensive lineman. Played in that one Super Bowl with the Falcons that will not be named.
No, but he was a stud. I loved Alex Mack.
Yeah. Good football player, too. So that's your list of Hall of Fame eligible dudes coming up this next season. The final thing here, Jim Schwartz has resigned as the Browns defensive coordinator. He's recently passed up for a head coaching job as well. So that's some news that just barely came down from the NFL, and another headline to hit on our daily dump this morning.
Where does he end up? Because, he was a candidate for the 49ers opening, and they hired Raheem Morris.
Right.
Jim Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator, really good defensive coordinator. So it's weird, kind of weird timing, to be honest with you.
maybe takes some time off of football and then reevaluates things.
He made his name as the Titans defensive coordinator. I don't know if Robert Saleh's named one. That might be.
Yeah.
That might be interesting. That was, of course, under Jeff Fisher, I believe. So that was a long time ago now. So it's not like he has a tie to another head coach that he came up with as a defensive coordinator at this point. But maybe, I mean, I think it'd be a shrewd move by Saleh and be like, I know that I'm one of the best defensive coordinators in the league if I'm Robert Saleh, but also I know that I screwed up royally as a head coach last time, so maybe I should get someone who's close to my equal or better than me at defensive coordinator so I can focus more on the rest of it. I don't know.
They hired Gus Bradley. Solid.
Is it Gus Bradley? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, Gus Bradley from the Colts then, right? Before? Possibly.
I believe so.
So maybe the Colts would be an opening there for. I would love that actually. Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator.
Bradley was with the Niners this year.
Is it with Niners? Okay.
I'm telling you, man. He was.
It's hard to.
It is. He was with Indianapolis.
It's hard to keep track of all this.
22 through 24. He was with the Colts.
Yeah. Okay. So recently with the Colts. What do you think of Raheem Morris for your Niners, Jordan? I think that's a good.
Yeah, I thought it's a great move. I don't know how as a head coach, Brice can give you his.
Yeah, don't ask me what I think about Raheem Morris.
But as a DC, I really like Raheem
You would
Morris.
have loved him in Atlanta if he was the DC, Brice. I just know it.
Well, they retained the defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, who's the best defensive coordinator in the NFL right now, in my opinion. But Raheem, good luck. We wish you the best of luck out in San Francisco.
Just run the defense, man.
Kyle's got the rest of it. You can just run the defense.
Maybe that'll be better for him. All right. We'll take a break here. Lee Sterling comes up next from Paramount Sports. We're going to talk with him about some bets in the Super Bowl, some prop bets and more. So we'll get after it with Lee Sterling. That's all coming up on a Football Friday edition of the Sean O'Connell Show. I'm Brice Larson. That is Jordan Bianucci. Holding it in for one Sean O'Connell. That all comes your way next, right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. More Super Bowl talk right here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Brice Larson and Jordan Bianucci in for Sean O'Connell. holding it down for him right here on the OC show and pushing forward this afternoon as we get into the weekend on a Football Friday edition of the show. Our friend Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports joining us now on the Sean O'Connell Show. Lee, great to have you back on. How excited are you for the Super Bowl this weekend?
I'm excited. I'll either be jumping up and down by the end of it or not wanting to talk to anyone for a couple of days. What's amazing is I can put it out as I rate my selections from 10 to 50 units. There's a couple of years I put it out as 20-unit plays, and I hear from people when you lose, they bet 5 times their normal amount. I mean, who does things like that? So maybe I've been doing it so long, but you got to treat it as one game, maybe a little bit extra, but betting 3, 4, 5 times your normal amount just makes no sense.
Well, let's dive into some of these bets.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? Are we looking at prop bets? Are we looking at the spread? What do we got going?
We're going to look at everything, and we're going to do. Let's start off first with the national anthem. Got to talk about the national anthem. My daughter is an actress, and she's been handicapping it now. And over the last 11 years, she's gone. We call it 10-0-1. So she won the first 9. All pretty easy. And then what happened, she ends up the Reba McEntire disaster. Reba decides to sing the last line twice. So my daughter had it under. By singing it twice, it ended up going over. The sports book were left in a conundrum. And what did they do? Most of them paid off both sides as a goodwill gesture. So it was something they hope never happens again. Then last year, I had her studying it, and she said, you know what, this is going to be the closest one yet. We're going to go under. It went under by 1 second. So last 2 have been crazy. Now, she said this is going to be a little easier. Charlie Puth is singing the national anthem, and so she comes back 2 days later, and she says, I've got it. I said, okay. Where do I find some of his national anthem? She goes, oh, he's never sang the national anthem. And I'm like, so how are you so confident? She goes, he did an interview a couple weeks ago with Ryan Seacrest. And in it, he mentioned that he's going to be singing it with a choir and an orchestra. So even though, let's say they sing, let's say he starts off singing and the choir and orchestra play by themselves or sing by themselves, and then he finishes that way, it all counts as long as he starts and finishes. So she feels pretty confident it's going over the minute and almost 2 minutes. I think they got a half second short of 2 minutes. So she feels it's going to finish in something like 2:10, 2:15. So we're going to go over on the national anthem.
So how do sports books decide to pay these things out or not? Like, is there certain stipulations that they have with some of these crazy prop bets?
Yeah, it starts from the first note, first word singing out of the anthem singer, and the last note. Now, they made it the last note. It used to be the last word was brave, but since Reba McEntire repeated the line twice, they've changed that to be the last note that they sing. So they're not going to put out huge, dollar figures that you can bet on it. Usually the over-under you can bet on the national anthem is like $500, and most sports books haven't even put out the total yet. So just maybe 20-25% have. They'll put it out probably tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's good to know. What other bets are we looking at for the Super Bowl that you have coming up this weekend?
Yeah, a couple player props I like. I don't bet the first person to score. I think it's just too random. If you're going to a party, you got 20, 25 people, put all the names of the receivers, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks in there. And, that way everyone's got a shot at winning something. You make it a prize or you have a pot. But I would rather do something like Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown. I think that's something where you've got a chance to win. A couple player props. I like Cooper Kupp, receiver for Seattle, over 2.5 receptions in the game. They've gone to him a lot more of late, and real good at reading zone defenses and knowing where to go when they use certain coverages or where the seams are in these coverage. And I like him over 2.5 receptions. On the other side, New England receivers Mac Hollins I like over 15.5 yards on his longest reception. Here's a guy 6'4", 220. They don't run flanker screens with this guy. He's tall. He can jump out of the gym, long arms. They throw the ball down the field on the sidelines to him early and often. So I like over 15.5 yards in his longest reception. And Stephon Diggs, 4 and 5 receptions the last 2 games. They've been using him, but I think he's lost his step, and I also think they're going to use some man-on-man coverage on the receivers. That's the Legion of Boom 2 defense. So they could end up curtailing his output on Sunday.
Lee, what do you see with the over/under here? I'm not even sure. I haven't looked. I haven't even seen what it is. But I imagine they're thinking it's a somewhat low-scoring game.
Yeah, they've got it at 45.5. I would rather take the under in the first half, under 21 points. Why would I say that? I think both coaches are so good. I think they're going to feel each other out. Both are great at halftime adjustments. So Super Bowl with 2 teams that really very few players have played in the Super Bowl. Better, I think, to play the under. But for the game, I like Seattle. I just think that this Seattle team, has really come into their own. They played a tougher schedule. Look who they played down the stretch. Rams twice, 49ers twice, actually 3 times for each team. And then if you include the playoffs, and New England got a very easy schedule this year from a last place finish last year, and got to face Denver, in the AFC Championship without their starting quarterback. So to me, it's a game of big plays, explosive plays. New England just doesn't have those players. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson is fine, but I think he's due to fumble. He hasn't fumbled in 6 or 7 games. And Trevion Henderson with their guy, and they just stopped using him. He was hitting on big plays. I think he had 3 or 4 touchdowns of more than 50 yards. So something's wrong, I think, also with Drake May with his shoulder. And Sam Darnold seems like the green lights come on. I like Seattle. I think they win and cover 27-16.
Hey, do they still offer the ability to bet on the color of the Gatorade that's poured on the winning coach?
Yeah. I've never been that desperate to bet something like that. So I think I bet the coin toss once, won it. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Hey, so my only question is, how in the world are they – like, someone can mess with that. You know what I'm saying? Someone decides which color of Gatorade they're going with. How do they prevent against that guy cheating the system?
Well, he could, but like I said, the limit on most of those bets is $500. You have to put a lot of bets. You have to put in 60 bets just to make $30,000.
Gotcha.
So, are you gonna? There's not 60 legal sports books before they realize that the same person's betting at them. That's how they've caught a lot of these. A lot of these gambling scandals is, they get. There was the Arizona State scandal had all these students driving over from Arizona and. You got to be smart. I mean, I'm not doing anything illegal, but I don't want any attention to me. Let's say I find out about an injury. If I'm in Vegas, I'm not going to bet $2,000 on every game if that's the limit. You walk in and you bet $1,300, $1,500, $1,800. You had these kids betting $2,000 a limit at every single sports book they could find. When you got 20 kids walking over betting $2,000 at every sports book, doesn't take long to figure out something fishy's going on.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a crazy one. Yeah. Word got around campus. Everybody was sending everybody to Vegas that weekend. All right, Lee, final thing for you. I want to get your thoughts on this. Your thoughts on live betting versus betting before the game starts. Do you prefer one or the other? Do you have an edge at all if you go with the live betting scenario to kind of play it out, see how it plays early on?
So I do really well with my live betting, but I just don't do it that often. There's a lot of games I just don't feel I have the edge. Also, you have to remember live betting, usually the juice is minus 115 instead of minus 110.
Right.
So you got to have a better winning percentage. So, I'm looking for things in football games. I know quarterbacks. I know the backup quarterbacks well. So sometimes, backup quarterback comes in and all of a sudden they flip the odds, and I know the quarterback and think he might even be better. Or a lot worse. So those are some of the things that I look for in live betting, or certain situations where certain coaches. Last year, for instance, the Miami Heat, third quarter, maybe one of the worst teams of all time. I don't know what they were doing in the halftime. Maybe they're watching a game show or something. But they came out and they were just getting absolutely destroyed in the third quarter. So those are some of the things I look for when you do live wagering. But you got to be really astute, and you can't make too many bets in live wagering. If you're betting, I know people that chase games, things start going bad, and they'll just keep riding that team and make 8 or 10 bets, and before you know it, I see him at my local drugstore there at the cashier's stand.
All right, Lee, before we let you go, hey, we thank you for jumping on with us. You got a play of the week for the people if they call you up this weekend?
Yep. All they need to do is call 800-400-9741. Give them our top college play tonight. I want a 17-4 run in the college basketball. Call 800-400-9741 for a free college play. Also, we're not going to reconvene on this show until the Wednesday before March Madness, but I do a daily podcast on the Locked On Network called Locked On Bets. So if you want to hear 3 wagers that come out, they usually come out by 8 in the morning. It's a 15-minute podcast. Just go to either YouTube, Spotify, Apple, type in Locked On Bets, subscribe and like, and get 3 to 4 bets, and it takes 15 minutes tops each and every day. Just type in those words, Locked On Bets.
All right. Appreciate you, Lee. Thanks for your time today.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
That is Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Really good stuff today. Love the Super Bowl betting conversations.
I love Lee. I could talk to Lee for a long time. Those guys, like people like Lee that really know what they're doing with like sports betting, fascinate me. It's an incredible skill. Like it really is.
Yeah.
And by the way, everyone listening, you're not skilled like that. So just to put, that's why you have to call Lee. Every bettor thinks, oh no, I've been watching sports for a while. I know what I'm. No, like when you actually talk to somebody like Lee Sterling, it's just so interesting to me.
Yeah, especially us two idiots over on the Brice is Right every Friday. Although our record was a winning record this year.
It wasn't bad, but we are just throwing stuff at a wall. Lee's not doing that.
Lee's got it down to science.
He really does. It's amazing.
Well, he mentioned it there in the interview too. He played college football, so he knows football really well. So in particular with football, that's one that he typically gets. He typically nails football, but you heard him on college basketball. He's on quite the run too. So that's been a fascinating thing for me to hear him talk about football and the reasons why he likes certain bets, and you can tell intuitively like he knows the game.
Yeah. The opposite of that, James, is me watching Summit League women's basketball at 10 in the morning.
During COVID.
During COVID, chasing points, chasing quarter totals.
You were that guy that was live betting.
It got dark
Summit League women's basketball. 8 bets in a row chasing your bet.
Do you have what's your worst bad beats story with that?
Oh, I don't even know that's a great, it's all a blur, James.
It's all a blur. It was all one bad beat.
It was all one bad beat.
I had one a couple years ago on a Thanksgiving NFL game. I think it was the Eagles and Cowboys. A late scoop and score touchdown just ruined it all.
No, if you go like women's whack or Summit League bet,
they even have lines on that.
They can't score. They don't score. Like they'll go on like a 7-minute drought, and then they'll foul. It's a gam. Man,
they're offering it on Summit League basketball, the quarter by quarter offer.
Somewhere they were. I don't know. If I assume it
may or may not have been legal.
It may or may. It's called. That's what we call.
This was all alleged.
Yeah, this is extra legal. It's outside of the system.
Extra legal.
Super legal.
All right. Before Jordan further incriminates himself, we'll take a break right here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Coming up next, you won't want to miss this one. We'll hit you with another PGA Tour leaderboard update from the Waste Management Phoenix Open, brought to you by Uinta Golf. Then we'll also get into James's Olympic and curling update. So that comes your way as we kick off the third hour of the Sean O'Connell Show. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci. We're in for OC on a Football Friday edition of the program right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. All right, welcome back into the Sean O'Connell Show. Brice Larson and Jordan Bianucci filling in for Sean O'Connell today on a Football Friday, a Super Bowl Football Friday for you. Going to continue to get you ready for that Super Bowl and more right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 792.1 FM. Before we get back to some Olympic talk, some football talk coming up here in just a little bit, let's get into a PGA Tour leaderboard update from the Waste Management Phoenix Open. That's brought to you by Uinta Golf. The latest out in Phoenix. Hideki Matsuyama still with the lead. He was earlier at 11 under, now has fallen to 10 under through, he finished out his second round of action, shot a 64 today. It was 10 under. So 7 under, or 10 under total, 7 under for the round. Akshay Bhatia is right behind him at 7 under. Siwoo Kim there and Chris Gotterup all tied T2 at 7 under. And then a couple of other players that follow all T5 at 6 under. So there's quite a few players. A great list of players there. Our guy Tony Finau was somewhere in the 90s the last time I checked. For Tony, we just got done chatting with Paul Pugmire. Right now, he's jumped into the 80s at least. T88 at +2. He's going to tee off coming up at 1:06 p.m. Will Tony Finau for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. A great tournament, Jordan. You got to, if you haven't experienced that one, you got to go experience that.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one to start with if you're getting into golf, right?
Yeah, go sit at the 16th hole.
Yeah,
if you want some excitement that's the spot to be.
And then just loiter after the tournament's over and watch the Super Bowl from inside the clubhouse.
There you go.
Right?
No kidding. Now's the time to go to Arizona. It's beautiful right now.
It's always Super Bowl weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The Waste Management Open.
All right, there you have it. That's our PGA Tour leaderboard update live from the Waste Management Phoenix Open, brought to you by Uinta Golf. Now, James Peterson, it is time for an Olympic update. Bring us the curling update, James.
Yeah, curling specifically because I take my assignment very seriously that Sean O'Connell gave me before he left on his PFL assignment out in the Middle East, the Mid-East as I like to call it. This update brought to you by Mountain Home Services, by the way. Got a sponsor for our Olympic updates, so shout out to Mountain Home Services. The opening ceremony is live right now on NBC, KSL 5, so check that out. One interesting thing before we get to the curling that I noticed about what they're doing in Milan for this opening ceremonies, we saw probably the most unique opening ceremonies in the Summer Olympics in Paris, where they had them on boats on the Seine, right, and going all the way to the Eiffel Tower, and we had just that incredible Celine Dion song that capped off the day there. I like that Milan is kind of low-key doing something unique as well, but also, like I say, very low-key. Like they have the main thing happening in a big arena, and then they have 2 other spots where they've got these Olympic rings that the nations are walking through as they're introduced. So they walk through a ring in the main arena where the most people are watching the opening ceremonies. Then they have like a downtown area, walking street area, where they've got another one set up, and another smaller group of athletes from that nation walks through there. And then it looks like the bottom of one of the ski hills where there's lots of snow. They're walking through there. So they got 3 different spots that they're introducing these nations through, and I think it's kind of cool. I think I'd prefer to be in that walking street downtown area. It looks like you get a little closer to the action, and it's somewhat unique as well. It's I think a little bit better than just buy a ticket and be in this massive stadium. So interesting thing they got going on there. Again, NBC, it's probably going to go on, another 3-4 hours? They like to drag these things out.
For some reason, opening and closing ceremonies just go on for forever. Just keep on going. You just shorten this one up a little bit.
There are points where I think they're making up countries. I don't think that's a real country.
Did you see
Baklavia? Not a real country.
Baklava. That's not a country.
Tasty though.
Balaclava. Cyprus, by the way, notable, they had 2 athletes.
Wow.
Shout out to Cyprus.
Congratulations.
Did you see Colombia? They had one. I think.
Colombia just the one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe so.
Shout out to Colombia.
The Estonians are being introduced right now. Shout out to Estonia. Speaking of Estonia, they played some curling today.
All right, let's
Played
get that.
we're gonna say played. Maybe it's competed. I don't know.
They curled.
I should know this as the Olympic curling correspondent for the Sean O'Connell Show. The home country, Jordan's Italians, beat Estonia 7-4.
Damn right.
Italy also beat Switzerland, the border war there, 12-4. And then Team USA 7-5 over Canada. Yeah, that's right, Canada.
Wow.
Eat our brooms.
Is that what they say in curling?
Yeah, they do. They do now. Eat the dust from our brooms. No dust on the ice, though. That's a strict rule. USA over Czechia, which, by the way, I'm learning just now in this Olympic cycle is the their new official name. It's like Turkey. We learned it's not Turkey anymore. It's Turkey.
I did not even hear that.
Know that.
It's not Czech Republic anymore. It's Czechia. Just curb stomp Czechia 8-1. Check that. Great Britain over Sweden 7-4. Already talked about the Italians. The Brits beat South Korea as well 8-2. And Norway, guys, on the board, first win of the Olympic cycle. It's the round robin tournament round for mixed doubles right now. 9-0 over Sweden. They were 0-3 going into today, and then they skunked Sweden 9-0. So that's a way to announce yourselves there. For Norway, the standings, updated standings, Great Britain 5-0. Team USA right behind them 4-0. Canada 3-1. Yeah, one loss to USA. Let's go. Italy, sorry, Jordan, they're also got a loss there, 3-1. But still doing pretty well. Switzerland 2-2, Sweden 2-3, Estonia 1-3, Norway on the board now 1-3, and then Czechia and South Korea still winless at 0-4. Also notable, I don't have an update on this. It's not my assignment, but we had women's hockey start yesterday. The mixed doubles curling was the first one 2 days ago. Figure skating is the event that started today on the day of the opening ceremonies.
All right. I do have one update. I was watching snowboard big air the other day. The Canadian athlete ended up taking quite the crash, got a concussion. He's not going to compete in the final, unfortunately.
Oh.
But there's a final coming up on Saturday. So some of your first medals that you'll see in this Olympic Games coming up on Saturday.
I think the
medal
skiers look down on the snowboarders.
Maybe.
Or is it the opposite?
Or maybe, yeah, well, the snowboard.
There's a lot more skiing events in the Olympics than snowboarding.
They're just like, yeah, cool snowboard, bro. It's been an event for years. I've been on skis. There are 2 of them.
I'll watch Lindsay do it without an ACL.
Exactly.
Try and do that on a snowboard.
Yeah.
Maybe she could. I don't know.
Why don't you guys get a haircut? How about that?
Speaking of that, we did mention it earlier. There was a Lindsey Vohn's first training session at the Olympics. So not any official event yet, but she did ski with her no swelling in her knee. Knee brace is all she's got to stabilize her knee. Ruptured ACL. She did finish a training session, went down the mountain a few times. So
impressive.
Yeah, beyond impressive. Doesn't even matter if she medals at this point, right, guys? Like the fact if she just gets through one heat of an event, she's a winner with that story, right?
I would say so. That's one of the best stories one of the craziest stories we've heard in a long time in Olympic history, right there.
That's wild, yeah.
So if she gets any sort of medal, that's going to be incredible from her. It's a really good story coming out of
she hops up onto the podium on one leg.
These Olympics.
Summit County resident, by the way. So she's a Utah. She's one of us.
That's cool.
Very
Lindsey
nice.
Vonn.
That's cool. By the way, I have an update on the Utah Valley track and field. So it's the Utah Valley track and field alum. Previous years was on the Utah Valley track and field team. Caleb Furnell is on Team USA, the bobsled team.
He ran track?
track and field at Utah Valley
And
University.
he ended up on a bobsled team in
Yes,
the Olympics?
actually, that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal. So,
Yeah, have you ever seen Cool Runnings?
Oh, yeah,
That's totally
right.
normal.
Yeah.
That's right.
it's pretty normal
Come on,
because
Jordan.
they go together
Yeah.
somehow. The muscles that you would use in track and field, you're running down the bobsled
It's
thing.
normal thanks to Irv Blitzer.
There is also a former UVU track and field star, Akwasi Frimpong.
Okay.
He's also a track and field guy. He participated in previous Olympics under Ghana for a bobsled as well.
Wow.
That was previous years. He didn't qualify for this year's Olympics, but in previous years he has as well. So that's pretty cool.
I don't care who you are, Jordan. That's lightning.
That is lightning Irv Blitzer.
But does lightning run on ice, Brice? That's the question. I guess it does.
It does.
That would make sense. That would check out. All right, so that's your Olympic update right here, and your curling update. Thanks to James Peterson, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. All right, before we take a break, Jordan, as we get into the weekend, we're talking Super Bowl, we're talking a lot of different things. Olympic ceremonies. Which Olympic event are you most locked in on the rest of these Olympics?
I like hockey. And
I think hockey's the easy go-to right off the bat.
I mean, I like the one where they shoot the rifle too. That one's
The
kind
biathlon?
Yeah, the biathlon. I'm trying to think. Yeah,
Can't take that one. Spence is
I
already
know.
the correspondent, Jordan. Sorry.
I like speed skating. That's why I chose it right off the bat.
Yeah, speed skating's good.
Slide me speed skating. I'm ready to do speed skating.
I mean, to be honest, figure skating is really incredible to watch. That it's pretty amazing what they're doing.
Begins today.
Yeah, that's just it's pretty amazing. Trying to think what other winter games.
Bobsled, luge, and skeleton. Those are all cool. Although, man, the luge is the one you're on your back. Skeleton, you're going face forward on your stomach, if I'm not mistaken. Luge is scary.
Yeah.
You're on your back, laying down. You can't really see anything. Those people that do the luge is crazy.
I've seen the street luge before too. It's like you just like road rash if you're doing that. That's crazy. Yeah. Hats off to the luge, street luge or winter luge, whatever the official name is for it in the Winter Olympics. Like that. That's those are some adrenaline junkies who go after it that way.
Yeah. The current opening ceremonies are going on. They just introduced the Jamaican team. 7 total athletes.
They had Snoop Dogg interviewing them earlier.
That's awesome.
That's where we are.
The 7, that's got to
awesome.
be the bobsledders,
Yes.
right?
Yep, the Jamaica
Jamaica, we
team.
have a bobsled team.
There you go. That's pretty cool. So those opening ceremonies currently underway over on NBC and more. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening around these Winter Olympics. All right, let's take a break here. Coming up next, get ready. The airing of grievances comes your way. Got a lot of things to complain about today. So we're going to air the grievances on a Football Friday edition and a Super Bowl edition of the Sean O'Connell Show. That's all before we give you away some tickets coming up later on to finish out hour number 3 and this program on a Friday. That all comes your way next right here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. The airing of grievances on the Sean O'Connell Show. You know it. It's a Friday. We're approaching 1:30 p.m. And we're back at it right here on ESPN 792.1 FM. I'm Brice Larson. That's Jordan Bianucci. Brice and Bianucci filling in for Sean O'Connell. You can always find us 7 to 10 a.m. over on 103.9 and 98.3 FM, part of the Utah ESPN radio network in the mornings. We're going to get into the airing of grievances, so you can hit us on the text-in line at 877-353-0700. Let us know what some of your grievances are. Once again, that's 877-353-0700. And Jordan Bianucci, I'm going to throw it straight over to you. You got an airing of a grievance for us here this morning, or this afternoon, I should say?
I always have grievances. I got a lot of problems.
Until we get, you always have grievances until we get to this segment, and then you give me the deer in the headlights look.
That's true. By Friday afternoon, I'm like, all right, I've aired it all out. I feel better all week. No, I got a grievance. We talked about this earlier on the show. I don't need on Super Bowl Sunday. Do what you want with the pregame show. I don't care. Once we get to 4:30, get the celebrities off the damn field, and let's kick off the game. Remember a couple years ago when The Rock came out and was on the field screaming into a microphone?
Yeah.
And the Rams are out there and the Bengals are out there.
They're literally lined up to kick the ball.
Yes, the special teams are on the field. They're ready to kick, and they're just standing there. Well, for no reason. He's talking. I hate that. Meanwhile, now other sports are like, oh, maybe we should think about doing this garbage. They had Fat Joe at the World Series. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of the seventh inning. Fat Joe's out there at home plate. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, there was a college football game. Was it the college football playoff game where they had some rap performance in between
Oklahoma, Alabama.
Yeah, between the third and fourth quarters.
They have like Lil Wayne or somebody come out.
50 Cent, maybe?
It was 50 Cent. That's exactly what it was.
It's 50 Cent.
So it's the first round, you losers. It's not the it's one thing if it's the championship game. You didn't even win the SEC. Neither of you won the SEC. Oh, we're gonna bring 50 Cent out in between the third and fourth quarter. I hate it. Everything's a spectacle. Just let me watch a freaking football game. That's it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make that a drop on your show now. It's the first round, you losers.
It means nothing.
And it didn't mean anything for either two of those teams.
Oh, my gosh.
Been absolutely zero. Yeah, no, that's a really good grievance. I agree with you.
It's just too much. Like, even Utah fans will appreciate this. If you go to a BYU football game, between the third and fourth quarter, they do like this whole firework display. It's impressive and it's cool, but there does come a point where I'm like, hey, it's a football game.
Yeah.
Can we play some football? I got Cosmo shooting out, flames out of his paws. Like, what are we? At some point, I'm in the minority here because people love a good show. I just want to watch the game.
The one thing about that, can you at least get like him actually hitting the drum? Because have you noticed this? He's like off time, and the thing goes doom, but he didn't actually hit it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story for another day. I've got a grievance surrounding the Super Bowl, specifically surrounding the way that it's currently set up. We have 2 weeks off in between the AFC and NFC championship game. Then you have the Super Bowl. And it's not even on President's Day weekend. Give me the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend moving forward. That's what I say. All right, James, you said we've got a caller on the line with a grievance? Oh, I can't hear you. Sorry. Perfect. All right, Alec. Let's hear it, Alec.
Am I on?
Yes, sir. You're on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, couldn't hear you guys. So I called in like a week or two ago and told OC that one of my biggest grievances is when you're in the sauna after the gym and some guy, usually a guy, but some businessman in there thinks that he's important enough to take a super.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What did you?
He's closing some deal, right? So the encouragement to confront this guy and tell him on behalf of all of mankind that We don't need that. You're being obnoxious. We don't need to hear it in the sauna. You're interrupting all of us trying to relax and recover. And I told him that the other day. He proceeds to take out his AirPods and say, "Really?" And then I said, "Yep, I'm speaking on behalf of everybody in here." And he walks out of the sauna without saying a word. So I am proud to announce that problem and that grievance is now solved. However, I swear it's a new thing every day. Now there is a married couple in there that is massaging each other on the bench.
That's got to stop immediately.
Entire stick shift. And it's like, guys, time and place. What are we doing here?
First of all, I want to thank Alec on behalf of all of society for telling that guy to get out of it, to shut up. My second thing is, how attractive is the couple? That's going to decide my feeling on that one.
Might want to plead the fifth on that one, Alec.
If you had to pause, Alec, that's all I needed to know. Because if that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, I'll plead the fifth. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right, appreciate you, Alec.
Listen, if they're two supermodels, you can do whatever well, I'll enjoy the show, I suppose. If it's, Ma and Pa from down the street, I don't need to see that. I'm sorry. I'm getting a quiet, I'm way out of bounds. You're right. No, I'm wrong.
No, I'm choosing to go the way of Alec here. I'm pleading the fifth on that one.
So that was one of the best grievances a couple weeks ago. The important business call in the sauna grievance, and I think Alec just topped that with his confounding.
That's
it. Just
that was good.
Could you not do that? And then he doesn't even have a response. He just walks out. It's amazing.
That's phenomenal.
Well, there you go, buddy.
We're gonna
take that call somewhere else, my friend.
OC, if you're listening from Dubai, I hope you enjoyed that. If not, I'll fill you in later.
Yeah, you can play it back for OC when he gets back.
Yeah,
it's fantastic because these are the same people that are talking on the telephone, on the train or the bus, or they're listening
in the grocery store.
Yeah,
on speaker.
Yeah, exactly. Listening to music with no headphones. I'm usually against the death penalty. However, you're doing
that. Go from 0 to 100 real quick with Jordan here.
Look, you're doing that on public transit. Just call the cops.
I'm usually against the death penalty.
I never want to see that person again.
Immediate ejection from whatever moving vehicle they're in. Is that what you're
fair.
calling for?
That's fair. I like that.
There should be eject buttons the bus driver or the driver has access to. Okay, seat 3, you're out of here.
All right, James, you got some airing of grievances that you would like to do over there?
Yeah, this is a Super Bowl related one. Maybe it's unpopular, but the 2 weeks in between the Super Bowl, particularly the week of the Super Bowl, is one of my least favorite week or two in sports because we just talk things to death.
Yes,
right?
Over and over.
Nationally, especially here on locally, there's usually a lot more more stuff going on locally. We can give some variety, but national radio they're only talking about the Super Bowl, which is understandable. But it's just the same thing over and over again. And this year, let's talk about the last play when Russell Wilson was intercepted at the goal line and they didn't hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. Like Monday of each week, maybe Friday, today, the last show before the Super Bowl. Maybe you go down that way. I don't even mind if you get a Malcolm Butler on as a guest and you talk about it as a guest segment. That's a really good idea. But every day bringing up, oh man, this is bad memories for the Seahawks fans. This is going to play it's going to play a role in this game. By the way, that was 11 years ago. Second, nobody on the team, I think Josh McDaniels is the only guy on either team who was involved in that game.
Wow.
And he was not, the Patriots were on defense in that game. So it's not even he was. So I don't think anyone on the field cares about what happened 11 years ago. No. The only common denominator, like I said, is Josh McDaniels and the fans of each team. And you know what? I think both fan bases are probably tired of hearing about it at this point. Do we have to keep talking about that as I bring it up?
I agree with you on that one, but I do think it was pretty funny that someone asked Sam Darnold what he would do with 30 seconons left, no timeouts on the 1 yard line, and then he proceeded to say he would throw the football. That was pretty funny.
Quick slant. I throw a quick slant. I know it's funny you bring that up about those national people having to talk about it for 2 weeks. We had Evan Cohen on our morning show. And we started, he's like, please, let's talk about the Jazz, this trade. So we talked about the Jazz for like 15 minutes. And then we're like, we got to ask you about the Super Bowl. And he's like, oh, do we have to?
So he was done.
He was so sick of it. Yeah.
He had only been in San Francisco for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah.
They've been talking about it for 4 hours every morning for like 2 weeks. It's true. We have some good grievance. Do we have the text line pulled up? Somebody coming after you, Brice.
Coming after me?
Yeah, on the text line. And I got to be honest, I may agree with him.
Do you want to read it, Jordan, or do you want me to read it?
You go ahead, James.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can find. Oh, here we go. Derek from Murray. Grievance against Brice. How much does a person not watch any movies? Seriously, what kind of sociopath are you? I get not watching many, but not watching any, period. How is that possible?
It's not any, period. Jordan might have embellished that a little bit.
It's
not
close.
Any, period. It's a solid 10 to 15.
You've seen 10 to 15 movies.
No, it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
15 to 25.
Okay.
More as of late, too.
All right.
Yeah.
Man. I think Derek makes a great point because that's the term I used when I found that out. I said, I think you might be a sociopath.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. What are we defining as a movie? Because it depends on.
What are we defining as a movie?
It depends on your definition here.
Okay, let's hear you explain.
Because I do watch a lot of documentaries. Do those count as movies?
They do, but we're talking about narrative films.
Then we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
As a film
films.
minor, he's the perfect guy to give us a distinction between documentaries.
Yes,
because that's interesting.
Because I watch documentaries, I don't watch a lot of narrative films that actually have like those stories.
Yeah, fiction.
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting. You should watch it. Documentaries are great, but that's usually the opposite with people. But you should watch both, honestly.
I mean, I do watch both. I in particular only watch based on a true story fictional movies. So that's both.
That's
right?
him. That's him.
Don't call me out like that.
Okay. I have to read this next one first here because it has to do with me. So, did you guys hear? It was last week. Did you tune into the show during Area of Grievances? We had a texter quote piggyback off of me and then say something I didn't say.
No, I did not.
So this texter's coming back, and it's kind of a mea culpa. So here's what happened. I took last Thursday off because I had to stay home with the boy. He was sick.
Okay.
Wife had to work. As she does every day, but she had something in particular she couldn't miss at work that day. So I played dad for the day, and I said, by the way, doing that's so much better than work. And then I started to talk about something else, sports-related, right? This texter said, piggybacking off of James, and then started to say, being a mother or being a stay-at-home parent is so much easier than being a working parent, whito I did not say. And now Spence at OC, Spence in particular, comes on every day and says, update James, you still against motherhood? So this texter, a little mea culpa, which I appreciate, grievance of people who use terms like circle back or piggyback incorrectly. Me, I am that person. Sorry, James. I'm sure you wish
funny.
I'd never text the show again. Haha, I'm just a blue-collar simpleton who never used the term before. First time I ever said it, I completely missed the proper usage and unintentionally drug you down into my sexist grievance of last week. So I appreciate the apology, texter. We've had a lot of fun with it, so don't be too hard on yourself there. But there you go. That's a little callback from last week.
But I disagreed in the first hour when you said people who take care of children are lazy. I thought that was
okay. Not you now, not you too, Jordan. You know what I said? I told Spence on air, you're not going to turn me into Harrison Butker. Okay? You aren't either, Jordan. Okay, you're not going to do that. You're not going to make people think I'm that guy. excited for new Jazz. My grievance is having to wait till next year to see them actually try to win games. I think we all share that one.
Yeah.
Although I do want to see him keep that top 8 protected pick.
That's the thing. I'm like, I can cheer for some losses right now.
See, OC's pushed back hard on me on this. With this, I am nervous that they're not going to be able to now that I know that Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to they're going to come up with some kind of nagging injuries for reasons to load manage him the rest of the year. But this makes me nervous and I don't know if Jaren Jackson Jr. is the star you should get to then give the defending champions your top 10 pick.
Mm.
If you're gonna jeopardize that, which this is not realistic at all, but if you're gonna jeopardize that, get Giannis, right? Like you don't get like Jaren Jackson Jr. is just probably not. The juice is probably not worth the squeeze for that guy if you're then gonna give your pick to the defending champions, but. Maybe it'll work out and it doesn't matter. I don't know.
I'm all in on the tank. I'm all in on watching Cody Williams go out there and give us a minus 40 on the plus and minus every single night.
Let's go. Shout out Cody Williams.
Right.
Sorry for the drive-by. My bad.
Hey, it's the games are public. We all saw them. Like, I'm just glad Collier's finally a Hall of Famer. By the way,
Jordan,
those last 2 games.
Yes.
How's your guys' Jazz expert? What was his reaction?
He
to
loved
the Jazz trade.
He loved the trade. Shout out to our Jazz insider, who's just a fan who knows a lot about the Jazz.
Texts it every day, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he really liked it because also you're most likely going to keep that top 8 pick. And they,
as long as you play your cards right.
Yeah. Look, Jaren Jackson Jr., former Defensive Player of the Year. You get Kessler back, and then have Markkanen. Your front court really is unbelievable. And then we were talking about how they will have, and it was because we were talking. Spence mentioned it.
Yeah.
The biggest lineup in NBA history with Ace Bailey in the backcourt as well. What 6'8", 6'9"? Like it's so. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know if Jaren Jackson Jr. First of all, I don't know how long he's going to stay here, too. That's another thing to consider.
What's he got? How many years left on his deal?
Didn't
3
he have
or
like
4
3
years?
Yeah, something like that.
And it goes up from like 30-something million to like 50 million next season, I think. His extension kicks in, so.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know. I'm part of the party that thinks that this pick is going to decide the future of this new group and what they decide to do in that front office. So you got to keep it because this draft class is stacked. Like you could find a superstar in this draft if he falls to the right team.
That's 6
in the right situation.
That's 7? Could you?
I think that you are in the running right there.
At least a really good rotational player at somewhere farther back like that under the top 8. And the Jazz still need those guys. Like they've got maybe a starting lineup figured out, and maybe the starting lineup gets even better if this pick falls in the top 3. Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, whatever. I think Cam Boozer is. I think it's safe to say he's out of play.
Right.
Being another big man. Don't know if he fits, but DeBonsa, Peterson, if you get the number 1 pick somehow or top 3 pick, the starting lineup gets potentially even better. But you get 5, 6, 7, 8. You could get a really good player who's just a big part of your rotation too. So that's the other part of what's like. But the main thing is, you do not want the Oklahoma City Thunder to have a chance at that player.
Yeah.
If this pick was going to like the Orlando Magic, it'd be like, okay, we got Jaren Jackson Jr. Shoot, we didn't get that pick. It's going to the defending champions. You cannot give them another top 10 player.
Right. I don't even know where they would put that top 10 player.
Yeah. Especially they just traded for Jared McCain. They just keep getting more stacked.
Well, so my question is, how does the new CBA affect them being able to keep all these guys though in Oklahoma City?
That's a good question.
That's
going to need to get a capologist on to answer.
They're probably going to have to choose between Alex Caruso and Lou Dort soon. They're probably not going to be able to keep guys like that who are kind of redundant in their position, who are also very valuable. But then they keep drafting or trading for guys like Cason Wallace, Jared McCain, who's been a pretty good two-way player. It's like, we're doing this so that we can afford to. We can still be really competitive even when we have to choose between those guys. I think Sam Presti's just making brilliant moves once again.
I think so. That's where the Jazz find themselves right at this moment. All right. Is that it for the airing of grievances? We're all done here?
We've got you got one that's not a grievance, but I think it's worth bringing to air too. Just pointing, Darren from West Jordan, our resident BYU fan. Shout out to the resident BYU fan. Not really a grievance, just pointing out the fact that Lindsey Vonn is more of a badass than any of the current NBA players playing basketball today. Absolutely.
No load management. Even more than the Darren Peterson kid at Kansas.
Yeah, that's a whole other. We could go 3 hours on what's going on there.
All right. That's a good point. Okay, coming up next, we'll wrap it up. Topical trivia comes your way. 2 tickets to the Black Crows at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. Your chance to win those and more. So get ready for that. We'll do a little crosstalk with our friend Spence Checketts before we throw it over to the drive with Spence Checketts. Stick with us on a Football Friday edition right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. All right, welcome back into the Sean O'Connell Show. Getting ready to wrap it up on a Football Friday edition of the program. Brice and Bianucci filling in for Sean O'Connell. Last couple of minutes before we throw it over to the drive with Spence Checketts coming up here in just a little bit. Got some topical trivia coming your way. 2 tickets to the Black Crows coming up at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. And, James, I'm going to enlist your help on this one because I'm thinking of a certain question that we can a trivia question we can throw out there. Anything come to your mind here, James, for topical trivia on? You have one?
Oh,
Do
Jordan's
you know,
going.
I don't know if you've talked about this. Do you know, as far as uniforms go in the Super Bowl, white as being away, we'll call color home. Do you know who has the better record all time?
No, I don't.
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I know who's been better, yeah. Who have more teams who have worn white won the Super Bowl more, or have teams who have worn their colored, quote-unquote, home uniform
Okay.
won it more?
There you go. There's your topical trivia for today. 2 tickets to the Black Crows coming up at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. On the text-in line at 877-353-0700. Home or away uniforms, who's got the better record in the Super Bowl? Don't give us the answer.
No,
yet.
I'm just saying you got to clear, because like the Cowboys' home uniforms are white. But we're going, white or solid.
White or solid.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. There you go. There's your topical trivia. Your chance to win those tickets. Text it in. Winner gets those tickets. Spence Checketts joins us in studio. How are you, Spence Checketts?
I'm good. I'm still a little disappointed after I heard James say that women who show their shoulders in public are being suggestive.
We have an update on this.
Wait. It continues to disappoint me that I have a coworker who just believes that women should really never leave the home. And, I like James. He's a nice guy. And so I'm just still digesting,
I can see that.
the news.
The year is 2026.
Yeah. I mean, let's, right, James? Is that
All right, Spence. Let me read you a grievance that we got from the same texter today.
We have turned this into
grievance of people who use terms like circle back or piggyback incorrectly. Me, I am that person. I'm sorry, James. Okay.
Yeah, I like
okay,
it.
you hear this? I'm sorry, he says. I'm sure you wish I'd never text the show again. I'm just a blue-collar simpleton who's never used the term before. First time I ever said it, I completely missed the proper usage and unintentionally drug you into my sexist grievance last week. I did not text that in, to be clear.
I love it.
Okay?
So
that was the same guy.
Just happens to be James Peterson's number.
But does this mean that you are now going to buy your wife her own cell phone?
To really prove it.
See, I am the worst with this stuff. I'll never let it die. Love you, James. You're my guy. Hey, how are you?
We're doing good today. We're doing good.
Good job. I was driving around quite a bit today. You guys knocked it out of the park. Good show today.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
What do you got?
Your time working at the Delta Center, Winter Olympics here, Apollo Ono. You got to witness the greatness of Apollo Ono.
Yeah.
And we've never seen anything like it again in speed skating.
Yeah.
What was that like to be able to witness it?
He was unbelievably difficult to work with as an individual.
Really?
Because he was like this. If you guys remember, I mean, how old? You guys are youngs, right?
Young.
How old were you in
28 years old.
2002?
In 6th grade in 2002.
I was 5 years old.
So you probably don't have a ton of memories of the 2002 games. He was like not just the best speed skater, he was like the biggest star of the Olympic Games, and he knew it. And one of our jobs with the CSE side was security, to make sure the athletes were taken care of as they were going through. We called it the kiss and cry zone back then. I don't know if they still call it that. And we had figure skating there as well. And, of course, figure skaters oftentimes become the biggest stars of the Olympic Games. But it was by far Apollo Anton Ono. Now, watching him do what he did was awesome. Because if you've never seen speed skating up close, you're watching, you're like, they're going to die at any moment. Because they're so close to each other, and there's so much force. And when they crash, they're crashing into the boards, right? So it was unbelievably impressive to watch him execute his craft. But when it was time for one of us to go get him to get interviewed or meet fans, we were like drawing straws. Like, dude, nobody wants to mess with this guy. Because he just and look, he was young. And in the years since, he has done a lot of commentary. And, so I don't want to, I don't know. I'm insufferable, and I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm a radio host.
Right.
If I was 21 years old and the biggest star of the games, I probably would have been hard to deal with as well. So, I think as he's aged, you've seen a more mature side of him. But, again, very impressive athlete, but a really difficult person for us to work with when he wasn't skating.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. And since then, like I said, there's been nobody that's come in the speed skating game that's been even close to what he was. And so that just shows you how incredible his run was.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was a really fun thing. It was a lot of work. We had to do everyone had to do one 24-hour shift a week. So there was one day where I was literally up for 24 hours every single week. It was a lot of work. But it was really rewarding because, look, I'll stand up for Salt Lake all day, every day. I mean, I grew up back east. I'm really the only one of my friends that ended up out in this part of the country. I have another buddy who lived in Boulder for a while. And I still, to this day, if I go home for Christmas or we have our 30-year high school reunion coming up, everyone's like, why are you still there? Why aren't you moving back? I'm like, it's good living, come out and see it. And if they ever do, they get it. But I was just really proud of the way Salt Lake showed itself to the world during the games. And just to be a small part of it was something that still to this day I'm really proud of.
All right, there you go. Before we sign off and whatnot, I do have to ask you, this news coming out of the Western Athletic Conference, Utah Valley University.
No, I've got to ask you guys, but you ask me first. Yeah.
But I want to get your thoughts on, just from an outsider's perspective, of what you've heard, because I want to know what the narrative is. Because I'm like in the middle of it, so I know a little bit more. The outsider's perspective, where do you place the blame in this situation? Utah Valley being sued by the WAC for $1 million in an exit fee, not being eligible for the postseason.
So I'm coming at this with very little education. Yeah. I actually wanted to talk to you guys about it, but we did hit on it yesterday with our we do a sports court segment with a couple of lawyers, Garrett and Preston Handy, and they're really smart, and oftentimes it's helpful for me to bring them on to learn exactly what's going on. And Garrett said something interesting. Like, I think Florida State, if they were to exit the ACC, is on the hook for like $250 million or something like that.
Right.
So when I hear $1 million, I'm like, just pay it and get out. That's kind of my reaction. It doesn't feel like it's a lot of money, but I'm not the one in charge. And I know UVU has grown a lot, and my son's a proud UVU alum, so I want to see. And obviously Kyle's not there anymore, but Beckerman's my guy. So, I know the team is good. I've been able to watch them a little bit here or there, and that's what's it'd be one thing if they were winning 4 or 5 games this year, but they have a chance to go to the tournament. So without the education that you guys have, my gut reaction was like, write the check and get out, man. That's just that's where I'm at with it.
Well, the biggest portion to remember about all of this, Utah Valley doesn't have football in their athletic department, so it's not like they can schedule a game at BYU, get their $1.5 million, and get out of there.
Right.
For the exit fee. So that's the biggest thing. The basketball team, in the Ken Palm ratings and the net ratings, has gotten too good that they're in that middle ground where no one wants to schedule them.
Right.
And nobody will play them at home, so they can't even bring people in. So they also have that problem. They can't get enough buy games to make up that money. What you need to know is a lot of athletic departments across the country run in a deficit.
Sure. So most of them do, yeah.
So if you don't think that that's happening currently, then you add in the extra scrutiny of the state of Utah on public universities currently and what they're going through. That kind of adds up to a recipe of, it might not be there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's also another backstory to all of this where you see what's happening with the Mountain West Conference, Utah State, Boise State. It's there. The WAC is leaning on bylaws saying, if you don't pay us, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, the WAC's fine to do that. There's a lot of things behind the scenes. I think Utah Valley might be standing on the fact that other teams in the conference that are leaving got their NCAA payouts.
Oh, okay.
UVU, from what I've heard, allegedly has not gotten their payouts.
Oh, okay.
So that's
important.
part of this conversation.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing is that I go back to the Mountain West Conference conversation. The Mountain West Conference isn't leaving Utah State and Boise State off of their media products. They're not taking their TV away. They're not doing. Yeah. I think this is a situation where the WAC thinks they can bully a school that has quote unquote less resources. And that's where we're at right now with all of this.
Yeah, all that's I knew zero of it, right? And your point about football is well taken because look, even a lot of the school, University of Utah, football program perennially ranked in the top 10, 15, $32 million operating budget deficit. They're in the hole. That's why they're signing this private equity deal. So I don't know. I also don't know enough about the UVU alumni base, whether or not they've got a cookie bro or a swig soda CEO that can write a check. I just feel bad for the team. I feel bad for the coaches and players. Like, if they're going to play their way into a deserved spot in the tournament and to have that taken away, look, I never played for anything that mattered, but I can tell you, as a high school basketball player, all I did was dream about playing in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
When I got my first iPod, this is going to age me, you were able to download every single one shining moment on it. And I used to watch all of them and listen to all of them and picture myself like playing for BYU or Utah or some school and like playing in the tournament. It's what you dream of if you're a basketball player. And the fact that these kids are right there on the precipice. And the other thing, one of my favorite things about the NCAA tournament is seeing the lives of coaches change overnight.
Yeah.
If you coach UVU, you go to the tournament, you win a game, St. John's will call you, or something like that, right? And suddenly you live in a completely different ecosystem in the world. So you're taking that opportunity away from the UVU coaches as well. So I hope they figure something out.
Right. Well, Mark Madsen obviously was this close, and then he didn't even have to make the tournament. He's over at Cal now.
No, exactly. So it's an opportunity for these players and coaches to showcase themselves, and it could change their lives. A scout is watching a tournament game and says, "Who's this kid on UVU?" Like, okay, I work for the Grizzlies. Maybe he's not drafted. Let's invite him into camp. He makes a team, and suddenly his life changes.
Exactly.
That's how this ecosystem works, so they deserve the chance.
And the WAC knows that, so they're using this leverage.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's unfortunate.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening. Spence, have a good show.
Good to see you, boys.
What's coming up on the drive?
Oh, man. Well, mostly Super Bowl. And we have a client on the show called Prize Picks, and they have asked me to share some prop bets. So I'm just going to say, every time I do this, I get a lot of hate. It is not my decision if you want to put your money on the picks, but we're going to give you some prop bets today. And then we've got a really good guest list. We're going to lean into the Super Bowl. We've got Sam Bruckhouse, Sumer Sports, Dave McMiniman, ESPN to talk NBA. We'll give you a golf update with Paul Pugmire, a little college football with Kamarani, and then our last guest is also Super Bowl related, and Kalen Jones. So a little bit of everything today on the show.
Are you telling me you're getting hate DMs?
Oh, my gosh. Every time. So for a while, Prize Picks is like, okay, you got to put your picks out on social. I'm like, A, I'm not going to do research to know whether or not Hunter Henry is going to catch more than 4 passes.
Sure.
I don't give a rip. And B, people are going to look at my picks on social and be like, okay, I should do that. They're going to lose money. They're going to get mad at me, which happens every single time. So now the new Prize Picks campaign is every host has to share their picks. So we will be doing that for entertainment purposes only. And if you bet your own money and lose, just,
it's up to you.
As the kids would say, don't at me, bro. How about that?
All right, there you go.
We'll have fun today, though.
All right, that's Spence Checketts. Hey, he's coming up next. The Drive with Spence Checketts. It's all right here. Thank you for tuning in. You can find me and Jordan over on 103.9 and 98.3 FM from 7 to 10 a.m. every single morning, and on the Brice and Bianucci podcast. That'll do it for us. Enjoy your Super Bowl. Enjoy your weekend. You've been listening to the Sean O'Connell Show right here on Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.